There you go. Have a good meeting.
Great, thank you. It is amazingly July 9th already. Cannot believe that. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda? Moved by Ms. Conlon, all those seconded by Ms. Canfield, all those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. The Scituate Select Board is committed to providing an environment of respect beyond meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner and promote disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized, minoritized communities, feel welcomed and respected. So we ask our community members and all who participate commit to these standards to support and respect our community. With that, are there any walk-ins tonight? And it's not on the agenda. Yes.
Very quickly, if I can.
Yes, and as you know, just name and address for the record. How are you?
Steve Yorkman, 861 Main Street in Norwell, present. I will be back in Stein Food. For about 2 years, I've been listening to people chat back and forth about these pickleball courts that they want to put in. I had been asked a while ago to try to help find a spot to put these. Every time we come up with somewhere to be able to put them, it seems like there's momentum to go that way, and then there's always a reason not to do it. The latest thing that I understand is that it's now back behind the gate school. And they were in front of the CPC last night, and it was my understanding that the selectmen had back putting the courts behind the gate school. Evidently, the CPC didn't quite understand that. I'm just wondering, is there any way that the selectmen can make a stand and figure out not when they're gonna go in, but where they're gonna go in, so that they can start to concentrate on maybe getting these things designed, even if it takes a while longer, rather than watching all these people just go in circles trying to figure out what they're gonna do? And that's kind of why I'm here.
Great question. Tonight, talking about old gates and things that we're gonna be possibly doing or not doing about that. I agree with you, we need clarity and clarity soon. It's been, in my opinion, much too long, this whole process. Either we make a decision or move on, or what we're gonna do, we'll see best location and where we're gonna go. But I'll say this, I am very confident by the end of this month, we'll know exactly what will be out of all of this. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic. Will all selectmen feel that way?
No.
Okay. Do the majority of them feel that way?
No.
Better not be happening, that's what happens.
It might not.
No, the board can't take that vote.
Yeah, we can't take anything up.
Yeah, that's just a start.
Yeah, we're gonna be, my goal is on the next meeting, to have that as a topic.
Okay. That sounds great. Thank you.
Could I just give you my notes so you understand?
Sure.
I would just like some presentations of the options that are available. I also know that the tennis court project, which is now underway, was agreed a long time ago to get that done out of the way, which we've done, and now we can focus on the pickleball court, so that's as far as I've gone.
That's on the agenda.
Yeah.
You'll get that presentation. Thank you very much.
There's also a suggestion, Amber Van Ten wrote a suggestion made last night that Mr. Fenley had talked to another people here at Town Hall and was waiting to hear back from the water people about a piece of property up in the West End in Norwell. Are you aware of that?
Yes, again, by the end of the month, we'll have some.
I'm just bringing
votes
that
at
up,
some
and
point,
that was
above the agenda, yeah.
spoken of last night, and hoping to put on hold until at least August. Because you're correct. Pickleball is told they get to wait until after the tennis courts. John knows.
Put it on the agenda,
Okay,
excellent.
thank you.
Anything else? Being none, the report of the town administrator.
Good evening, before I start, I want to welcome Sherry to our meeting, the new administrative assistant. Okay. I think her head's swimming a little bit right now, but very confident she'll get it done. We're very happy she's here, so Welcome to Sherry. I already sent you my report, Sherry, so don't thank me. We'll start off with last week, the 4th of July, very busy here in town, as everybody knows. I want to thank Scituate PD and Fire Department for their work. We had a very safe weekend. I just emailed the board, police chief's report from the weekend showing what occurred, so it was a very safe weekend. I also want to thank the DPW. Last year, if the board remembers, we had some serious issues with the beaches, with trash being thrown around. This year was much better. The DPW was able to get it all. And I want to thank the residents for that, for keeping the beaches clean, keeping our parking lots clean. Really just for having a safe, fun, and happy fall. So thank you everybody involved for that. If you've been outside today, you know it's hot. The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for much of the state for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Anticipating high heat and humidity through tomorrow. Municipal buildings are open, including the Town Hall, Council on Aging, the library, particularly the place to be cool. The library is open until 9 p.m. today through Thursday. Town Hall is open until 7:30 tonight. Even later if you want to hang out with us at the board meeting. We're going to be here for a little bit. Please check on your neighbors, especially the elderly during this time. The heat can be deadly, so make sure everybody's doing well. Stay hydrated, and again, we do have municipal buildings that people can go to. If they don't have any place to go, it should be cool. Water update, Tac Factory ponds plus 3.5, that's up 2 of last week. Reservoirs at plus 4, that's up 1.15 of last week. Rainfall the past 7 days was 2.5 inches at the plant. Demand for the past week was 1.576 million gallons, which is up 1.5 million, 1.6 million for us for the 4th of July week. It's actually fantastic. Usually 2 million gallons. So good for that. Thank you to the residents for serving, and thanks to a little bit of rain. The water department also wants to let residents know that some residents will receive a communication from the water department regarding the mandated EPA lead and copper survey that is going on. This does not mean that those residents have a lead and copper issue, or they may even have any lead in any part of their service. For the EPA survey, we can simply confirm the materials for all service lines. The company doing this work would like to send a postcard with a QR code. Residents can then take a picture of their service line inside the house and will be sent to the water department to verify the water line material. Only residents that we do not currently have this information on file for will get that letter or QR code. If you don't get a letter, it means we already have your information. You can contact the water department 545-8735 if you have any questions. If you've been by the Purple Dinosaur, it is substantially complete. We do have some punch list items we need to get down. We also have to have an independent inspector go out and certify the construction and the installation. We're hoping that'll occur this week. We're getting the punch items done. Please be patient. We'll get it open as soon as we can. We need to just check all the boxes before that happens. And then we'll let everybody know the Purple Dinosaur. In terms of the tennis project, if you go back, RAD has mobilized. They put up construction fencing and erosion control. They've taken down the existing fencing. They've taken down tennis poles and tennis nets. Once we have our first scheduling meeting, I'll be able to give an update on what's going to happen over the timeline. But you will see the contractor has started mobilizing on that site. To everybody's relief, milling and paving of Chief Justice Cushman Highway from the Rotary to First Parish Road began yesterday. Milling the rotary will be followed by asphalt paving, weather permitting. Motorists should seek alternate routes if possible, and residents in the work zones could experience short delays, should plan accordingly. Local traffic is allowed in the work zone during construction. Castings will be raised following the milling, so please use caution going in there because those castings will be up. Work is expected to last 3 weeks total. Board of Health is doing their beach sampling, Hammerock, Peggy, Sand Hills, Egypt, Lighthouse, and Minot. Results are posted on the Board of Health page, Town News, and Town of Scituate Facebook. All beaches are currently open. The Bike Committee wants to remind residents that with summer upon us, there are more people out walking and biking, so motorists should take even more care when driving around town. They also want residents to be aware of a new law that has gone into effect, new signage that you might be seeing around town. Massachusetts now requires distance between any vehicle and a biker to be 4 feet and at safe passing speeds. The town has posted several new signs throughout the town reminding motorists of the 4-foot rule with bikes. By state law, the 4-foot distance to pass requirement also applies to pedestrians and any road workers as well. This means that there is oncoming traffic, the motorist must wait until that traffic is cleared and properly give safe space to pass pedestrian, biker, or worker. Please be on the lookout, be careful as you drive around. The water main contractor is continuing work on installation of Durham Road this week. The roadway will be closed from Beaver Dam to Hadley during construction from July 8th to July 12th, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Road is open to local residents, pedestrian traffic only. We asked motorists before they get down to use the Tilden Road detour, there are signs. We hope that project installation can wrap up at the end of this year. And finally, a reminder, we're just about done with the lighthouse. We're waiting for the installation of the dehumidifier. The punch list item, the new LED light, that's sitting in Nancy's office the past 2 weeks. We do need to get that up. We'll get that up. We'll get it tested. The new flagpole will also be installed. Replace the old lights for that. We also have new cameras that'll go on this so we can see the jetties on all 3 sides of that, so we'll keep an eye on that during storms. Science Society has set August 7th, National Lighthouse Day, as the date to celebrate the renovation of Scituate Light. We'll be putting out more details as they become available, to let people know what is going on. That is all I have for this evening.
Questions?
I assume that when you say bikes, you're referring also to mopeds and scooters and that sort of thing.
Any bike that is not considered a motor vehicle under
So an electric bike. would be-
electric bike is a bicycle, it's not a
Okay.
moped. A moped may have enough speed that they're supposed to go on with the traffic on the side.
And then there's sometimes fake bus.
Good, thank you.
Do we have an update on the maritime parking lot?
So the maritime parking lot, we had the DPW down there filling in, making sure it was passable, because it really wasn't. Mike, you were here for,
I haven't heard, he did say about the back.
we tried to schedule the grader to get out there and grade, we told him we need enough time to make sure we get any of the boats or anything else moved out there. And then we'll get that parking lot graded, make sure any of the drainage that's there now is fixed.
Yeah.
And then we'll have discussions, I know there is talks about doing a large project. Jeff has preliminary plans, we guess, I think that might be prohibitively expensive, but right now we wanna get it graded,
Yeah.
just can't get a contract.
Yeah, it's rough.
And again, Mike knows me enough, because there's a couple boats in the way that are gonna have to be moved by the full house before we have this.
Yeah.
We've told them we need several days notice, so we can let full works know, we let Michelle and the maritime people know, so we can get everybody, and then recreation's on it, sailing, so. Need a couple days notice, once I get it, I'll let everybody know that they'll.
Maybe.
And I updated, I saw updating today, so I updated.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. First on our agenda, Mike Green, talk about Bruce Johnson and his 25 years of service.
Absolutely, you are cleaned up,
I just wanted to say, Bruce has family down, so he couldn't make it tonight, and I decided to come talk because we've worked together the entire time that Bruce has been on. And I just wrote down something so I didn't forget. I said, Bruce Johnson and I have had the pleasure of working together since 1999. He's been an exceptional employee, spending 10 years at the transfer station, which was a landfill when we first started, switching over to the transfer station, and then another 15 with the highway department, which he's worked himself up to foreman, and he's done an exceptional job. Bruce demonstrates remarkable dedication and takes pride in his work. He also excels in fostering a positive relationship and getting along well with all coworkers in other departments. And you could ask, from the DPW office to the water department to the street department, he gets along with everyone, and he's a pleasure to work with. So I just want to make sure that people know that, and you guys know that, because sometimes you don't get to know everybody individually. That's what I want to say. All right.
Well, that's, hold on.
Ah.
Hold on. We do have a little something, but again, just on behalf of the town, just absolutely thank you. I can't think of anything less appealing than trying to lay down asphalt in mid-July, 9 degrees. What's going on, right? It's terrible. So these folks like Bruce who were doing that, it's just remarkable for all this time. So.
Everything from asphalt, to signs, to drainage, in the, he's doing it, so, and there's guys.
It's unbelievable. And anyway, everything's probably been said, but not everyone has said. So, oh, sorry, Kevin, I didn't see that.
I just want to add in, Bruce is a great guy to work with. He's also a legacy. His father worked there for a long time at the transfer station and the landfill, and retired as the foreman of the transfer station, as everybody might remember. So it's in the blood. Going from-
And that, I was just gonna add that, the value to our community to have folks that understand the job, understand our roads, understand what needs to get done, it's just immeasurable, so. Thank you so much for you and for your team for doing such a great job, again, and there's.
Yes, so
Off you.
You convey this to our.
I'll make sure Bruce gets it.
Appreciate it.
I will tell him.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
all right, thank you. All right, next, Elaine. Talk Heritage Days. All right. Anyone else? No?
Yes, please. In case you have any questions about the beer garden, came with the beer garden.
No.
Not a major. I don't know if you have any questions. I think I submitted everything.
I mean, this is just, it's an opportunity for us, again, to tell, is there anything different? I mean, again, this is for folks too at home, you know, about what's happening there, so we gotta go through the run-up show, with that any different, so.
No, the beer garden is one, and I submitted a plan with the beer garden. But it's not gonna be that much, something, Matt and Marty talked, and met with the police, the fire, and something about ADA compliant. So it's going to be small. I don't see how that would be any worse. I mean, we're pulling it in. The size of the beer garden. The food vendors were going to be enclosed. They are no longer going to. That's the only change. I don't know if you have any questions. The times are the same. Might be half an hour longer on Sundays. Basically, the times are the same. The area is the same. One change, and probably have seen it. Otis is going to be open on one side. Exit only, that little street over beside the movies. That's been closed off in the past. So it will be open on one side. And that's because there was a little bit of a maybe traffic jam. Everybody exiting through Millwalk in the past. The police said they prefer us to have two exits. And I can't think of anything else that's different. Just another year.
Open up some questions.
Michelle, can I ask you a question? Yes. Is there a reward down on Full Parkway? Jim mentioned it to me the other day, the posters and things that go on. Yes.
There is a kiosk, we've still been waiting, they're in design of the map.
Okay.
That's something the cultural district is working on. And it's taking a little longer than.
So is it a board that you could actually pin up
The
actual posters?
The
and things?
interior, the parking lot will be for just community harbor events related to the district. The outside will be a map of all the businesses.
But I'm just thinking in the meantime, would it be possible to put a Heritage Days poster up on
Yeah.
the roadside and the same thing with the White House?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you don't have a poster that big, because it's a big board.
It is a big board.
We do, we end up having them that big.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
up close
I
to
just
that big. We have big.
wanted to suggest that maybe just for a little additional advertising. Thank you.
I can work around that.
I wish you 3 days of great weather,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you.
Any-
That's fine.
Anybody in town can have.
Music acts, anything you should know about, I'm trying to sell this for you.
I'll send you the flyer.
All right.
I'll send you all the
It's a
flyer.
good music act.
Yeah.
It's a good line.
Yeah,
We'll do
it's completed, we have the flyer. Up in the local, I think it's a high school, Graziano board, I know, I think it's called Fair, I think it's Fairwind, I'm not sure. Yeah, but we have some local kids. That's, I mean, Joshua Tree, I think, John Michael, we were texting, yeah. Should be good time.
Sure.
And would that be on our town website? just whatever the information is.
We can put a link to it.
It should be on the
Yeah.
visitor center one, right?
Yeah, well, as many places.
It's on the chain.
Yeah. Just a question, Dave, so with the increased beer garden, what's your staffing?
So, yeah, we're very excited to be back this year. We have increased the size because in the past few years, it's very crowded, especially towards the end of the day. So we did meet with fire and police and kind of discuss the new plan and all agreed with a larger beer garden would actually benefit everybody by providing a little more space. The fire department's on board with the safety aspect. We did add an extra emergency exit, so it'll be 2 active entrances and exits and an emergency exit in case of emergency. We do have extra staff manning 2 doorways. We have a new policy this year where everybody's gonna get ID with a bracelet this time. We were ID before, but we didn't have a bracelet, so this way it's gonna be easier to identify potential under. So we're gonna have that different color for both days, so the passing members can't pass around. We do have extra steps and everyone, so we met with the police and fire already, we have another meeting tomorrow, so I'm fine, so I feel very comfortable and confident.
Yeah, I don't know of any problem with the larger one, obviously, we don't want kids.
Larger, yeah, right. A few more
Well, you
bodies
know,
on the ground.
the police were in favor of it. They showed us pictures before and Matt, as Matt said, it's not necessarily gonna be selling a lot more alcohol, so the people won't be all jammed, it's like 100 people, 300 people in a spot that can safely accommodate 100. It was just a bunch, and it was dangerous, they said, all those people packed like that. So to be able to spread out, they're not necessarily gonna have more alcohol, it's just, there won't be those lines in that bunch. And some of the benches will be included in the back. We have 13 rows of benches. The first 7 rows will be without alcohol, and the last 6 will be in the beer garden. So people can sit on a bench.
And they'll be divided by the.
They'll be divided by fence.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fenced. Won't be bail that can step over. Plus, we'll see the wristbands.
Yeah, that was more of my concern, yes,
Yeah.
is there any thought about limiting access? If it gets too crowded, just saying, you know,
Do our best, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay, we'll see how it goes, yes, good plan.
Motion?
Sure. I move to approve a special event permit in the Chamber, to the Chamber of Commerce for Heritage Days from Friday, August 2nd at dusk for the Luminaria, Saturday, August 3rd from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday, August 4th from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore, second by
Second.
Ms. Canfield, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Heritage Days. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, new common vic license, 4143.
Or running a couple of minutes late.
I'm running late, so who do we have for boards and committee openings? Dan, just like Dan, all right, Dan. Dan Ramsey, Public Building Commission.
Thank you, everyone.
So just to start, before we begin, we're gonna just grab our books. Just so folks know, there's 2 open seats and Dan is. So folks know, and it is number 19. So, Dan, real quick. Why now? These are the questions usually I would ask. Why now? What are you looking, trying to get accomplished? And just tell us a little bit.
Oh, absolutely, thank you, appreciate the time, so try and be quick, but, moved to Scituate in 2019. I actually run and operate an engineering and project delivery company. So naturally, we do existing facilities and new construction. I have a natural background with some of the responsibilities that I understand it for the public building commissions. Been here about 5-6 years in the area, came from the North Shore, really enjoyed it, there's kids in the public school. I really want to get a chance.
Won't hold that against you.
I know, be upfront, so no one, if I get selected, when you find out, you won't hold it against them. No, the kids getting into the schools and really want to give a chance to give back. I did know Steve Shea, who was on the current chairman for the, chairperson for that committee. We work a similar background in Mass Maritime and facilities. So he kind of expressed to us, what they worked on and some of the responsibilities, and I thought I could add value. And so I'd like to participate and just help in any way I can. I have experience on committees, both tactical and strategic for different organizations, involved in various other building, promotion, professional societies. I just like to give back if there's an opportunity.
Very well, more than qualified. to serve this.
Yeah.
It's very OSHA certified, all everything, it's so many,
That's coming.
love
Facilities management.
We do have a little construction project that's starting that the board is, wasn't originally going to have PBC involved with, but I don't think we actually decided at that one last meeting that we would ask for that. That's all. Is that official?
it. I don't know if we go.
All right, we may have, we definitely have a big project, hopefully.
It's going to the PVC.
Thank you for raising your hand. Typically, they meet once a month unless there's a lot on.
No, happy to support and, build large projects, I have a lot of background, industrial, police, water also, and so if, if that's the plan, I'm happy to help out any way we can.
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, Mass Maritime now is excellent. I think they already have one, but they're becoming increasingly more important in our communities around here. And I appreciate your coming to volunteer. Thank you.
My pleasure, I'm happy about the opportunity.
And welcome to the social.
Yes, thank you.
It's
Enjoy
right
it.
on this North Shore.
Well qualified,
Yes, thank you.
to welcome you.
Thank you.
So it's been great.
Well, thank you so much, we're gonna vote later, just because I think some people are coming,
Absolutely.
going, whatever, so, great, so much.
All right, well, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let
We
me,
can skip to Shelley, what's over the
Shelley, all right,
Exciting. Appreciate it.
Shelley, come on up. Economic development, same questions about kind of why now? Tell, a little bit about yourself and, kind of what your.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me this evening. My husband and I have lived in Scituate since 2011 and he started a business in 2013. So for 10 years now, my husband and as of 7 years ago myself, both own a business in Greenbush. We own a woodworking workshop and artisan gift shop in Greenbush area. So we have been, and we painstakingly waited to expand outside of our workshop to a space in Scituate because we really wanted our business to continue to have roots in Scituate. That was very important to us for a long time. It was a 350 square feet, building big countertops and way too many things at 300 square feet. We moved to 3A. There are plenty of places you can expand to. You can build your business. Fine. We said, no, I really want to stay. So this was important to us to be a part of our community, to be part of the business community. And Matt Elder graciously approached me over a year ago and asked if I would be interested in filling his liaison role on the Economic Development Commission. And I was very grateful about it and have been very honored and excited to be a member of their meetings as a liaison for over a year now. And I was informed that there was an open position coming soon on the Economic Development Commission, and again was quite excited that they consider me for the role. I have been interested in continuing to give back and build up our growing economic presence here in Scituate, and spearheaded the Get to Greenbush event that started 2 years ago, and it had been something that I had a brainstorm of 5 years ago and was finally able to get it off the ground last year and then just grow it again this year. So I have a lot of ideas and I'm excited to contribute.
Fabulous. And so is woodworking, it's.
Yeah.
That's one. Birch bark.
Birch bark design, he started with cutting boards, but my husband, if anything, has challenged, he just cannot be bored, so like cutting boards to everything under the woodwork he's done.
One thing I did, wood shop used to make door stops.
Oh.
Triangle. That's all I could do.
How'd that work out?
That's why I made a lot of good door stops. That was my, that was the height. No blocks, no tables. Anything else?
I just want to say, I've been living some for agency for a while, and the work that you've done to, really bolster the businesses in Greenbush, she's doing amazing. You don't have, you're already trained, so I think it'll be a great addition to the board, and I just did want to note that the opening is longtime chair, Scituate is stepping out.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know if she's officially done that yet, but, pardon me?
Big
shoes.
Yeah, you did, but it's a great committee, and as you know, because you sat with the rooms there, so, thank you so much for raising your hand, because there was real momentum on there. I was gonna wait for liaison report, but since most people don't stay up that late, I will say, with the start of the fiscal year has been the start of the opportunity for applications for Economic Development Commission grants. So if you're a business organization that has an idea for an event, or something that fits under the umbrella, you can look online and see all the criteria for economic development. There are funds available that you apply, and the committee reviews them and recommends whether or not they were funded. So it's a great opportunity for our businesses and also organizations that might want to be that. Like Heritage Days would be, that's typically applied for additional support. So, little plug there, I crossed up my liaison report.
I just want to thank you for the Greenbush event, that's been terrific, it's been great to see it. And I know it's just to add more life, and it's getting better and better now for every year, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Like I said, welcome aboard.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Yeah,
You go back to board on 4:30.
we're on a roll though. Do we have any more people for boards and committees?
Yeah.
We do? Who,
Yeah, it was.
Dina Gray, all right, perfect. So this is now, Dina,
Sister City.
Sister City.
Just sit.
Great.
Dan,
Yeah, come on, yeah, come on up, so. Very easy, name and address for the record, and then just why now, and, why you want to be involved, and. Sorry, here.
Sure. My name is Dina Rivero Gray. I live at 445 Clap Road near Scituate. But I grew up in Sand Hills in the generational home that my great grandfather bought when he first came over here from Cape Verde. My grandparents lived in that home. My mother was raised in that home. And my parents, as luck would have it, bought the house directly across the street growing up. So I got to live in Sand Hills across the street from my Cape Verdean grandparents. And the culture here in Scituate, the Cape Verdean culture is something that I'm very proud of. And I've been a volunteer for this committee for many years. And when these openings came up, I said, putting in the work anyway, I might as well be.
Let's get fully involved.
I'm gonna switch my name tag to volunteer to committee member, if all goes well, but we just had a wonderful event this weekend. Karen was there and it was great success, and it's like one of the proudest things that I've seen come out of the town that I grew up in. It's really, really beautiful. It's a little bit overdue, but I'm glad that we're doing it, and I'm so happy to be a part of it, and it makes me so proud to be from Scituate and also Cape Verde.
I love the enthusiasm. No, seriously, so what's next? What do you want to do next?
So
Pretty
this,
sure you're getting through, so.
yes, so this was our second annual Cape Verde Independence Day celebration. So it's the biggest, I think it's the biggest event that the Sister City Cape Verde Committee has done. I would love it to not be limited to just the film festival and the Independence Day celebration, I would like to do lots of events. I have a background in event planning and I love sharing our culture. I love doing these events. You guys should really come check out the food. It's the best part.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
The food was incredible. A lot of my tias put in a lot of work for that food and yeah, so I would love to do just more events and more accessible events to the community. I have a lot of ideas. I don't know if I should throw them all out right now, but just even more than like the booth that we do at Heritage Days, which I've also volunteered at for the past couple of years, but like I was thinking like maybe even a booth at the farmers markets on a weekly basis and, you know, just more access to information on our culture and more visibility. I know that there's talks of a statue in Harbor, you know, like we have the Irish Mossing Museum statue and, you know, we have, you know, deep ties to the Ernestina here in Scituate, which is Cape Breton owned at one point, and it's ties to Mendes family here in Scituate, so I have a lot of ideas for a lot of things that we could do. Maybe a little overzealous, but yeah, it's spirit.
Yeah.
Great energy.
Yes.
No, just great. Very nice.
You wouldn't know that I woke up at 4 a.m. to take my daughter to the airport. I've been working straight through the whole day. I've had a few chais today.
You good?
Yeah, I'd like to ask, you mentioned Christina,
Mhm.
Ernestina,
Yes.
Ernestine, sorry. I'm wondering, is it next year the 50th anniversary of
It is.
Cape Bird's independence?
It is.
And I know at some point, within the past year, there was some talk of trying to get your Ernestina up here. I sort of heard through the grapevine that Plymouth is angling for it, but my hope was that if they could just take a
Quick detour.
detour up here.
So we were also hoping for that. One of the challenges that we came up against was the depth of the harbor.
Yeah.
So the Ernestina could make an appearance, but she would not physically be able to
Get into
go.
the harbor.
Yes, so, but that is something that we're looking to try to work around and.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you're able to put it in a certain
Right,
position right outside of the harbor where it's deep enough, people could bring boats out and get to see it.
oh, there's an idea.
Yeah, and I know it's been refurbished a number of times, but I just think it'd be a great thing, so. Right, Jen? Yeah. Stretch that harbor, no problem.
Well, we're in the process of getting working on the permits now, we just did last week, we did the cross sampling that we could do with live permits, so. It's a ways away, but we're in the process of getting it addressed now.
Yeah. Well, anyways, welcome, thank you for
Thank you very
volunteering
much.
and great to have.
I don't have to do a liaison report if you keep doing these, so Independence Day was amazing, the sister cities have just all knocked out of the park, and this is a new committee, and Dina's been involved from day one, so I don't think she had a choice, but.
I was told not to say that.
It looked like more people than came this year than last
I
year.
agree, yeah.
It's the energy and and combining of all the different, cultures through our sister cities is really awesome, exactly what we have. So, yeah, you have to change it.
And you have a great mother,
I know, the best.
great mother.
I'll give you one idea, because I saw some other towns did this for pretty much somewhere. It's pretty cool. You gotta go to the school committee for it, but it was a jersey swap. Like the soccer team, their home game was find some high school local people.
Oh my gosh, I love that
And
so
so
much.
then all the Scituate kids were that high school
Oh
local
my
kids in there. That was pretty cool.
Love that idea. I might
For
take
that day,
take that idea for myself. No.
No, so, pretty cool, so.
Awesome, I love
Thinking about
that.
that, but thank you for stepping forward.
Thank
Again,
you.
again, 1,000 times, but
Awesome, thank you guys.
thank you. All right. Excellent. So now, I think we have board. Rude. Yeah, rude, sorry. Coming, review common vic license.
Oh, that's
Discussion and votes.
All right, we're late.
Hi, everyone.
Before you begin, all the questions. How many questions has this board got? When in the world is Route 143? What's it gonna be like? So tell us all what's happening there. Tell us everything you can.
So, we're currently waiting on the plumb. We have a few more things to do, but once that's completed, we should be pretty close. So we're hoping to open by the end of the month. No problem, that's.
I can make it earlier. Enough of the occupancies now. The decorations are done, right? We just need water.
Need water. So the idea is a coffee shop, to offer various types of coffee and beverages, and tea, and what have you, and light food. We are thinking of bagels, toasts, and,
So our coffee is gonna come from Slack Tide in Marshall. I buy all of our beans from them, they're a local company, they're amazing, they have the best coffee around. And then to begin, our pastries and bagels and such will come from Honda de Young and IS, where we've been getting their baguettes as we opened. So they came in last week, did a huge tasting with us. It's really great. So, and then we'll add things like, breakfast sandwiches, but we got. And then. It's nice. Just so excited that you can just plug away as and how long you've been working on this. Few obstacles to overcome. I think everyone will be like that out of the bar, so.
we hope so.
You've done a great job with the shop there, so. I don't have any questions.
Oh, excited to welcome another new business or an extension, I guess. of
Yeah.
new business. Yeah. I do not have questions.
So, wish you luck.
So why aren't we invited to the race?
Yeah, and just for the folks at home, everything you're in the backup, obviously, run a successful business for a long time, so that's why there's, very comfortable, and really, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
It's great, so, do we have a motion?
Move to approve a new common victualler license to Board 143 doing business at Route 143, pending final Board of Health approval.
Right, Ms. Conlon, seconded by Scanfield, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, aye, it's unanimous. All right, boy,
Thank you,
Thanks.
thank you very much.
couple of weeks, you heard it here first.
Couple of weeks.
End of the month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love your place.
Days away, that's the headline.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone else going back to the schedule, any boards and committee openings? Yes,
William Ridley?
Mr. Ridley, come on up. So, you do anything and everything.
Anything.
You can be all over the place.
You pick those people.
So let's first just start, tell us about yourself. Why now, why do you want to step forward now? And then, so we have on our list here, water resources, Commission on Disabilities, and Council on Aging. Assuming that's in your preference.
Yeah, so hello, my name is Will Ridley. I live on 36 Beach Bum Lane. Recently I graduated from University of South Florida in Tampa, but I've been a resident of Scituate for the greater part of the last 17 years. So I've been around town, to say the least. In terms of choosing now, I really want to give back to the committee that I've been a part of for so long. In Tampa, I served as a volunteer at the Veterans Hospital there. So I work with elderly and disabled patients there. And currently I work at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston in the anesthesia department as a program coordinator. And I've just been super committed to giving back to the communities around me. And all this, since I moved back to the Scituate community, I said, okay, this is my time to act now. And initially I spent all this time in Tampa working in various communities, veterans community, the disabled community there as a part of USF and as a part of my own individual entity as a volunteer. And I said, I want to come back to Scituate, bring this kind of newfound engagement and commitment to service, and hopefully bring that to the town of Scituate and the town that I love. I picked these 3 committees in mind because I think that they kind of fit my academic background. I was fortunate enough to be actually the speaker at my graduation in front of 10,000 people, which is a little nerve-wracking, but that was due to my academic successes, and I graduated with a perfect 4.0. So in terms of the academic side, I've been very successful in learning, and I consider myself a lifelong learner. I really want to learn and hopefully combine that with my desire to work in the community. And I said that I want to bring this to as many places as possible, but I invite the board to select the position that they find would be the best fit for me and has the highest unmet need, because that's where I feel like I would serve, and I would love to learn and serve on any committee.
Smooth, well, forget 10,000, now you're talking 18,000.
Right.
18,000.
He tells stories. People watch
Because
us.
they're all laughing.
They're all watching, so now you doubled tonight your number, but it's fabulous to see,
Well, may I say, as the mother, proud mother of BC High
Oh,
graduate,
yes, BC High.
There you
welcome,
go.
we love you guys. Great guys, great education, my son put there. So, very highly. of BC.
It's an awesome place.
Yes, it is, he agrees.
go forth and sets the world ablaze.
Yes. Why did you choose water resources first?
So I selected the water resources first because I'm familiar with the kind of advanced talks that are going around the town and the popularity of that commission. And I noticed that it's been kind of irregularly an open position. And I said that this might be a really high unmet need in the town. And I know that the Water Resources Commission has a kind of multitude of different areas, whether it be health or the environmental side. I know it kind of takes a juxtaposed decision between looking at different disciplines. And understanding that complexity and bringing my background in both sciences and humanities, I might be able to kind of help out on that front. And I know that due to the fact that there's a lot in the works in terms of the water treatment plant and other sides of the Scituate legislature, I'm really interested in kind of serving that as well, due to the fact that it's a huge part of the town and maybe has the highest unmet need at this current time. And that's why I wanted to put that first, because it might be the most challenging of the three, but I'm up for a challenge. I really am open to kind of learning new things and increasing my knowledge of the water supply in Scituate and how we can improve it.
Thank you.
You know,
Like the
Mr. Chair, I just have a question. Because I'm fairly new. Is it possible that he could serve on more than one committee?
so there's no openings yet on the, you can always attend and go to all of them.
Yeah.
But I think, the Commission on Disabilities is not an opening. There is an opening on water resources. There is an unmet need.
We did a research,
Council ladies, I don't recall off the top of my head. So,
Well, maybe we should. So it is possible if there were openings.
correct, if there are openings.
That's all.
There's a lot
I like your energy. As Karen said, I like your background. Well, you'll take a thing.
Thank you.
I don't have any additional questions, thank you
Thank you.
for your
Well, thank you, yeah, we're a little later, still.
very thorough.
I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks
so much.
Awesome, all right.
Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you. All right. Don't see, branched out to anyone else.
Mary Lou has canceled.
Oh, all right,
Yeah, Robert is supposed to be here,
all right. All right, so next on the agenda, we have the Board of Lincoln Memorial Bench approval. Right, yes.
I'm
We're
here.
like we're way ahead
You are way,
right
way.
now. We're way ahead.
Woo-hoo.
We're rolling.
But me, please, well, but I think Jim wants the chair here, I don't know. But
Well, we can do,
Can we skip to the?
sure.
Yeah.
We got,
he should be here.
can we do some golf carts? Your meeting.
I give you buckets, parts, you go.
So we're gonna move on to the awarding or not awarding of 5-star golf carts. The 8 o'clock discussion.
Yes, golf course director Kelly has requested a new lease for 9 new golf carts. He will be trading in 9 2013 club car, electric golf carts, and one 2014 Bucket, the damaged golf cart. In place as trade amounts. So we're gaining 9, but we're getting rid of 9, so it's a zero-sum game. It's procured through the state contract. The actual lease at the time that the agenda was published, we had higher new pricing. Our lease rate was $78,300, and it will start in fiscal 25. So they'll make $8,215 for payments in this fiscal year and then the next 4 fiscal years, after which time we will hold all the cards. And even though the will be wants to talk to the board, maybe as part of his capital plan or part of his budget discussion, that I'll buy some extra cards, just to help right on it. But this will continue with the actual lease that they have in their budget. He does have sufficient budget funds for this. And I think the green.
All right. And these are all, he's still gotta be ahead year after year.
Oh, yeah, that's
They're,
right. I want to exactly.
they're killing it in a good way.
Right, exceeding all.
Exceeding it.
The revenue.
Yeah, that was the only comment I'm gonna say. I haven't looked at this month's numbers, but he met his projections.
He's exceeded every projection and, you know, this is the first year that it's been an in-house management, so.
Of course.
Yeah, of course itself. So,
And even the golf camp over there, it's well attended, it's.
Yes, one question.
Of course.
Did I mishear, or is there a state contract for golf carts?
Yeah.
There. Wow.
It's for landscape equipment.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all
fine.
right, that's a good. Thank you.
All right.
Would you like a motion?
Yeah, this is a motion would be great. Thank you.
Move to approve the 5-star lease agreement for 9 2025 RXV Elite Lithium golf carts for $78,300.
Mr. Gilmore, do I have a second?
second.
Second by Ms. Conlon. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
You want to move on to a fire
Oh, sure.
The fire truck? Yes, we can do the fire.
So fire chief Mark Gunman, will probably be here later. If he doesn't get my emails on this account. The purchase of an E1 Typhoon stainless steel pumper in the amount of $840,000, which is the amount that town meeting approved at the April 2024 town meeting. As with everything in supply chain issues, this pumper has a 700-day lead time. Right, so we would like to get this contract approved and get it on order and get it in the queue.
And I think Greenwood, that's outrageous. 700 days.
And this is through a purchasing cooperative through the NAPC, Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts, is for the annual results.
So, and this is the state one, not the county one, right? The larger.
This is Metropolitan Area Planning.
Got it, okay, sorry.
I know it's in here, but we could just explain it in even language. So we approve this contract and but there's a 700-day lead time. What's our lease of funds schedule? What do we require from?
They won't get any funds with the bigger vehicles. It depends on if we have a problem, and I didn't see any language in this contract. We
Number
have to-
19, it's 5 calendar days of arrival.
Yeah, so normally.
100% payment shall be made within 5 calendar days of arrival at Greenwood Emergency Vehicle.
It's usually, you give us, we give you the check, you give us the keys. Yeah. It's not like, here's your truck, send us the check. Great. And some of the bigger trucks, sometimes they pay for like Chappie.
Hold the money for stuff.
Right, we authorize it now, but it's not gonna be expended.
Yeah, well, and
Yes, you know, it's not really.
now,
The big thing is you lock that price to get it going.
yeah, you're.
And this is, again, folks at home, the pump it's replacing is 30 years old, all right?
It's gonna replace the 1995, which is the backup, and the 2005 will become the backup.
Flint administrator.
Yeah.
All right. Seeing no other comments or concerns. Motion,
Move toward a contract to agree with Emergency Vehicles LLC for $830,000 for E1 Typhoon stainless steel pumper. Second.
we're going to scan, field second by Ms. Conlon, all those in favor? Aye, it is unanimous.
His phone's off, I tried to get him, so I
That's all right.
things.
We got the easement people
Are you?
Yes.
How terrible is it? Are you?
Our attorney is.
Yeah.
Are you the easement people? That's terrible.
The
I
easement.
know,
it's here.
It's our lot in life.
Is your attorney?
We call it a lot worse.
They're in class.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Should we go?
This is not a public, oh yeah, so we
It's
can.
not a public hearing.
Okay.
Go, I think the attorney.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
on,
Stephen,
Steve Caruso. Stephen Caruso.
Can't hear him, and
He should be able to mute or unmute himself, I believe.
I'll ask him there in a second. Hold on.
There we go.
excellent, all right, and Robert, and so, yeah, I think, oh, all right, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can go on if you want, and then Jim, I don't know if you wanna kick this off, or?
Yeah, so this is the, when you go into the parking lot of mine, this is that first building on the right-hand side. They have a small access easement that they get into, they're putting a new septic system. A small portion of that septic system will be in the easement. You're not allowed to do anything to the easement without your permission, nothing they do in the easement block access, which this does not. It also does not in any way impact our project to redo that parking lot. Is that, Council, is that about sum it up?
It does. Yeah, everything that's being done here is going to be subsurface, won't in any way block access or traffic. And it's something that the Tremblays have, worked with Sean McCarthy just to make sure that this project and the town's project to redo the parking lot next year, that one wasn't in a sense, overlapping or interfering with the other. So in this situation, it's a system that's not failed, but it is one that predates Title V. It needs, it's something that will really be a great improvement. It's been approved by the Board of Health and the Conservation Commission. And again, it doesn't violate the terms of the easements and the timing of it. They don't expect to start the project until late October or November. So it wouldn't do anything to interfere with the traffic at the as far as the beachgoers and the parking lot. And another question, in talking to Michelle Segazy today, she was asking some questions about staging of the construction, and it's principally going to be on the property, again, because of the access easement we do have. There would be some back and forth across the parking lot, but importantly, all of this is going to occur prior to the town's improvements that are, according to Sean, most likely not going to be underway until next spring.
Right. Yes. All right, and all right, so and most of this is gonna be in October, is that what I heard? So it won't be
Yeah.
Liberated.
We're planning October. It, obviously, some of it depends on details will be the contract. But they're all happy that, part of the small.
And then we're up there, the property you're talking about, here, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we just add it to coordinate with DPW before any work's done, so that we get those launch on just in case we have anything set up. It's one of the things.
All here.
No, I'm really, I'm really glad you're being proactive about this, protects the waterways definitely, and my other question was the impact on the market parking lot project, so if that's not an issue with DPW, it's not an issue with me. Sorry, and not the approach.
All right. Seeing no other objections, I'll take a motion.
Move to authorize work within the town's easement recorded with the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds in book 44981, page 311, and book 44981, page 319, and the replacement of a septic system located at 71-73 Blades Road, pending DPW's approval, a staging plan, and approved dates of construction.
Moved by Mr. Gilmore, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Conley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. All right, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Go back more.
All right. We're gonna go back in time 20 minutes. And we're ahead of schedule.
We were.
We're doing good.
Good job.
Well, thank you again.
I feel like I was very late.
No, you weren't.
No, you're actually right.
They're very
Trying to be on time.
All right, so this is the acceptance of a donation of some benches for the Moore property. So tell us about it and go from there.
Well, I hope it's fairly straightforward. Our approach to funding for the Board of Lincoln properties, we think of as an all the above strategy. So if we have folks who are willing to donate memorial benches, we've got, thanks to Penny and her Merry Band of Trailblazers, a number of beautiful overlook locations that would be ideal for some sort of memorial for those who have nature and that type of thing in mind. So we'd be happy to, I don't know what the official process is, but we'd be happy to accept those donations if those are available to us.
Can I speak? This is a picture of parking lot is where my car is in this one, and there's an opening in the stone wall there. And my vision and Concom's was on each side of that stone wall, because they're on a cement platform, and I can't really go out in the woods. But on each side, to put a memorial bench, and that will enable elderly, handicapped to sit, look over the beautiful meadow we created there. And in the fall, there's another picture, I don't know where it is now, but it shows the woods. I hope to do this, the pruning, so they can sit there, yes, straight down from the opening. There's an area, if you move it over to the right and move the arrow, that I would do just the pruning, and then in these benches year round, they will be able to do marsh. If they can't walk out in the woods and do the marsh, but they can sit there. So that was kind of the vision to give people that can't walk around the park, at least they can sit and enjoy the nature.
So, for folks here, I mean, this is an acceptance of a donation. I don't want to micromanage where to put them. That's we start doing that, these meetings will go on forever. So, do you have a Brian and Sons is doing, the next donation, that's fabulous.
That's the estimated cost.
That's the, that's
That's the
estimated cost.
estimated
They will
cost.
create them.
Oh, that would be the cost,
And then you tell the whoever's interested to, that's,
and that's what the cost is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, questions?
No, I think it's a great idea. It's a nice, opportunity for the town. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, I just wanna ask, Michelle, I think, are you doing this now, the memorial bench donation thing?
Yes, in this case, we don't really have a full program, but
Well,
with your
because I
approval,
think-
they'll have two, and I'm happy to.
Because I want to point out, I think that we've sort of run out of places to, when people come in to, they wanna name, donate a memorial bench. We've run out of benches here, so, this is a good opportunity to let everybody know now that, these benches will be available. Would it be one donor per bench or two?
Two donors,
Two benches.
Yeah, so one
So
donor
one-
per bench.
yeah.
So two potential donors.
and we can advertise on the website, we can put it on Facebook, and we can include it as update, we can definitely spread the word.
We have people looking for benches all the time.
Yeah.
As you said, the board had approved areas for benches before, we don't have those anymore.
Right.
The board always accepts the donation of the benches. In this case though, because this is the first time at Board of Lincoln, we wanted the board to say, yes, we want benches there. I didn't want anybody to go up and say, where does bench come from?
Right.
In the future, it'll just be accept the donation of the bench. But we want to make sure the board was on board with having memorial benches at Board of Lincoln. We don't allow them at the school, so we didn't want to stop that precedent of the board weighing in on that for sure.
So anyone out there, these are two new opportunities.
Yeah.
We get, you'd be surprised the number of inquiries we get from people that want to do memorial benches. It's a lot.
It's not the ocean that we look at, it's something different. It's
Right.
a meadow and then the Gulf, actually.
There's a lot of people interested. Someone approached me for a bench down at the harbor, said, we're not doing those anymore, but we have some opportunities in North Carolina. And that couple's supposed to be coming in to see Michelle and doing a memorial bench. So I think in the end, you could have more than two, leave that up to.
Well, let's, I'd like to start with the two and maybe I'll find some other spots around to put some.
So the site's great, love the idea, I have macro questions for the board that I think this gives us an opportunity to have a little conversation about. The first is, care and custody of conservation property.
Yes.
So you put up benches, you put up different walkway things without the board's permission.
Right.
So I just wanted a little clarity from the board about, and we'll get back, I'll get back to the whole memorial thing in a second. But in theory, would we even accept a donation? I guess we would accept a donation. You haven't, how do we fund the other improvements to conservation? For things like that. CPC?
Well, CPC, yeah, like the picnic table that's gonna go up in Water by Lincoln, that's going to be, that's included in the driveway and parking area. And that's those CPC findings, okay, because I have to have ADA accessibility at least to something up there, so we're gonna put a nice picnic table underneath that nice tree, so they can sit there and they can look out on the meadow.
So the reason this is coming here is the first time we're contemplating a donation on conservation.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, we did that nice.
It's more that this is an area that has never had memorial benches. There are places that the town does not allow memorial benches. So even though it's conservation, just like you're weighing in on the parking lot, I know Board of Lincoln is particular interest to this board, so I didn't want that going on up there without this board weighing in.
All right, I just wanted a little clarity on sort of G.
And now that, once you've approved that they can have memorial benches, what will come back to you is just accepting the donation
which brings me to the second physical memorial bench. There's two things that have been kicking around, two ideas that have been around for a while. One is, as we see, the establishment of a proper naming policy. If we're gonna name a field, we're gonna name, town hall or whatever, what were those requirements? And Jim and Karen tell me. Worked on that a long time ago. It is my, with the help of our attorney, I'd like to bring that back to the board, probably August 6th. Along with that, if there's time, is to work with all of the different groups to help Michelle identify opportunities for memorials, whether they're not benches, if it's something else. Is it, a tree? Is it whatever? I know that different groups in town, if we approach them, we'll have ideas. So I'd like to just a little, teaser for the board that, it would be great. One of the things we would want to do is ask conservation, come up with a list of things that you could identify on property and your custody that could be added to that list. So folks can call. We can say, this is it, you have this list and this is what the cost is.
Let me just, there is a little bit of a problem, except in the parking lot, that these benches are not like the benches we put in the woods, which are very rustic. Okay, a plank on two stumps, okay, which we have plans for that on the path. These have to be on a cement platform. And to get into trails, that's not gonna be very easy, and we're trying to keep the trails as natural as possible. Where in front of
The answer could be there aren't any.
Yeah, it could be.
So I think it's a great topic.
Yeah.
We could, maybe for the later July meeting, we could talk more about it, but for today, question before us, are we okay with two benches going there? And seemingly, it looks like folks who already lined up to donate to. As a board, are we okay with having benches at a public trail?
Yes.
I think that the property there can easily be complemented by those two. I like the idea of where you're placing them. I like the reason why you're placing them there. And the clientele of the citizen community, it's great future thought. Be able to see through that woods and see the water and all of that. I might end up sitting there.
You good?
Yes.
Love a motion.
Move to approve the placement of two memorial benches in the North Avenue property overlooking the meadow, and further to accept donor funding of approximately $4,072 per bench as provided by O'Brien and Sons, in addition to installation costs.
Moved by Ms. Harrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gilmore. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Homeless evictions, now we need those donors.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Really appreciate it. Moving forward.
Right. We appointed someone. We are appointing all saying. All right, we're all tired. How are you? So let's talk. $250,000 creek drop. Came in under budget.
Came in quite a bit on the budget. We've priced the truck out with some different suppliers. We had gone to a trade show, and we found a company that I believe is out of New Jersey, Alltech, that specializes in construction of tree trucks. We were able to purchase it through Sourcewell, which is the Minnesota-based, we're a member of procurement group. And
this is kind of a picture of the truck, of what the truck looked like. It can elevate in the air well over 70 feet, and it's made specifically for doing tree work. We have basically a utility truck now, it's good for the flags up, and any real tree work, we can't reach the areas that well. So in areas we've been using more and more, tree crews, subcontractors coming in. We do have two guys that are not afraid to be up in the bucket and go up 60 or 70 feet. We took a demo model and used it for a couple weeks, around the house. So, we put forward and brought for capital to get a tree truck. Here we are with the tree truck.
And can you just kind of let us know a little bit more, and I thank you for this, very focused on safety and making sure that staff, is trained properly, because I mean, we're talking, this is serious work.
It's some serious elevations, yes. So our guys,
Like, you're trained, there's more than that, just kind of how's all gonna work, how we're gonna determine areas, stuff like that, just curious.
so like anything, we work with the tree warden and determine what trees are alive and dead, they're in the right of way. Sometimes lately, we've been spending a lot of money bringing subcontractors in to do it. And this doesn't mean we will be able to handle every tree we have. Sometimes you need to bring in a big pool of 7 or 8 guys that are well trained in these, especially around electrical lines. But this will give us more flexibility. It will also help us out during storms, if we get any hurricanes or anything like that, that we could go out and get hanged. We're limited. Back a few years ago, when we had all the trees down, if you remember, we had a proof of Danvers come down, and they had a truck very similar to this, that they were using very successfully, getting areas where our guys couldn't reach, and worked out really well. So since that occurred, our guys were really interested in getting involved, and getting further involved in tree work and tree removal. And our guys do a great job. They go up their limitations. But we're hoping we can transfer this into something good. Like the fire truck, this is gonna be a long lead time, the chassis is gonna be made, and then after the chassis is made, the elevator and the crane system, bucket truck on the back will be there. Our guys will go through training before they use this truck. What we'll do is we'll bring somebody in specifically, to certify the truck and also certify the operators that are gonna be running, the bucket truck in those heights.
Open it up.
Say, as long as you, and I know you will, enforce the training, make it a profession, make these guys understand what you're doing, nobody gets hurt. I think it's a great idea.
No, our guys,
Towns always used to have tree marks. And then it went away and relied on the private sector, so I think if we can implement this would be a good benefit.
and we have a couple guys that are really into going up to heights without having any issues with it. So, and through our grounds class, and I did it also, 2 years ago, we did some, heavy duty training on chainsaw and felling trees and everything else. So, we do keep up with that pretty good, and our guys are doing well with it.
I do have some questions. How much do we spend on subcontractors per year?
So, for subcontractors, free
For
work,
free work
I
specifically?
have to check, but before, last time I checked, before we did capital planning, I think we were over $80,000. I'm gonna look at Nancy and see if she knows from the top of her head. We're more than that. And just because we have the truck doesn't mean we're not gonna spend any more money on subcontractors. We still have a lot of tree work now, but we can supplement that, hopefully save a lot of money by doing tree work ourselves.
How much, you said you have 2 guys that do this, like, what's a day in the life of this tree truck? Are they gonna be out there every day?
No, they're not gonna be up there every day. I talked to Mike about it previously, and we were hoping to get guys out on a regular basis. We could set up a tree crew that work, go out and, maybe do tree work. 2 to 3 weeks out of a month, you go out and maybe doing that, it's not gonna be every day. But we will try, depending on what the workload is, to get as much out as
And I guess what kind of trees are we taking down? Are these trees that the electric power companies are not taking down?
So the
And
electric,
they should, I mean, it's not.
We don't touch anything near the wire.
Okay, so
That's
like what
on that.
trees would we be taking down?
so we have a lot of
The electric company
trees.
does the ones by the wires and like they were stuck on my property, so there's else on theirs. Where would the trees be that were coming down?
So the trees would be in the right of way, they could potentially be on the other side of the roadway. The electric company is gonna take a tree down, you know, just because you think it's gonna fall down in the near future, or, you know, they'll have to determine that also, with our tree warden, but there's plenty of tree work that we have all over town.
Also around our athletic facilities, on our fields, working to be able to trigger the common because there's some growth and all that stuff. Right now, we just make a list, we wait, and we haven't come to the end. So this liability there, we don't get to. This, anything not on the same side of the wires would be ours. We'll have to come out and deals with this, either on their side, or it's an imminent hazard to their wires. That's the determination.
And then, does this change, I know, I get that guys like to go up in a tree truck and push your stuff, but this seems like our insurance would change with this. Do we need additional insurance if we have people up in tree trucks?
No, I mean, we'll have to add it to our insurance, obviously, as any big, we'll have to add it, but I don't think it's additional insurance, because we have to, work that we do. We just gotta make sure we do the training, which is, you don't do the training, and then you have an accident, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, it seems like a
Yes.
big liability.
I haven't talked to them specifically, but I don't think it's a huge addition to our, we pay for our insurance.
Property and general liability about 700,000, but it would be under our workers' comp.
It's not gonna be a whole lot.
Okay.
We have a bucket truck now that we do go up, and, so fiscal 24, we spent almost $13,000 in 3 years.
113.
Yep.
Okay. And then where's that $260,000 going? 263,000. This
Stays-
was under bid, right?
stays in the
So
article.
That's getting flagged to go somewhere.
Stays there until we're all done with the acquisition. Then there'll be a time where, once they use the truck and say, hey, we need this. Once the acquisition's done, that money sits there, and then just like with the water treatment plant, we'll repurpose it in order for something else.
Okay.
You can put that,
To the water treatment.
so that you can go, how we need to go and put it through that.
It's cash, right? Yes, cash, so go anywhere you want. Go, other capital, water treatment plant, anywhere you want, it just has to be moved by time you want.
I think other people have questions.
Yeah, I actually do. No disrespect to the guys who are willing to go out there and give them great credit for willing to do it. However, I do have a concern as to whether or not we're hiring an arborist, you know, under contract to go and look before, I'm sorry, you hand a bunch of guys a bunch of chainsaws and a truck. And I'm just concerned that I think we need to have someone give us professional advice as to what needs to be done. I've had 30 or 50 trees taken out of my yard over the past 30 years, and we've had the arborist come in. He or she looks at all of the trees and tells us what has to be down, what can be saved, what can be not saved. You have to top this one, the branches need to come down. So my only concern is that we're not just willy-nilly cutting trees down.
So Karen, I can promise you, we're not willy-nilly cutting trees down. You've got a list of a lot of
And I'm
trees
not
that.
trying to be
No,
harsh.
not taking that at all.
Okay.
We go to tree warden, Mike Rain, he's been tree warden for over 25 years. He goes to tree warden seminars, tree warden classes, inspection on how to look at trees. He's even tried to drag me with him a couple times to it, and eventually I will find out going. It gets closer and closer to retirement, so I'm not all about it. The guys take it very seriously. And they're not gonna take a tree down just for the sake of taking a tree down. We're looking at trees that are in bad shape. A lot of times they're rotted out. Sometimes it might be having one limb that's hanging over the middle of the road that we think is dangerous. And it's getting up to, nobody wants to be upset if you truck, because it's not, it's not a lot of fun.
And I'm not suggesting in any way that anyone's gonna go up there just for the sake of cutting down a tree or cutting limbs down or whatever, but I'm just asking on behalf of the citizens of the town who care a lot about our trees, right? And we care about them as well when they're dangerous. So I understand the balance that's necessary, but I just wanted to ask the question in public so people feel confident that we're handling our trees.
No, I understood where this tree would be the most valuable is if we have another really, really bad windstorm. You can't get a hold of the subcontractor. You've got trees down everywhere. You have to get out, fill the roads up. We went out with our bucket truck, couldn't get anywhere because it could only go up so high. It's good flags and light poles, but we didn't have the reach to do a lot of other things. And we saw when we were working with the dentist crew, all the flexibility they had, their bigger bucket truck. And since then, our guys have been saying, if we get another storm like that, we will be limited. So that's part of the impetus behind looking at a truck like this. It's pretty far up there when you go up pretty that distance. But we've got a couple guys that are real professional and they are very good in work. I have the utmost confidence. And we're not gonna send anybody out until everybody's certified and comfortable on this truck. We did have a couple guys who have been certified. They were out in the sample truck and they did some good work and very successful at it.
Great, thank
You just mentioned in passing that the other bucket truck can do light bulbs and, or, like street lights, that sort of thing. So that was gonna be my question about, I was under the impression that we had to wait for National Grid to come out and do, at all cluster. Is there anything that prevents us from going up and changing light bulbs?
So we took over the lights. National Grid no longer owns them. Is that what you meant, to do the lights?
Okay, I forgot that little factoid.
Okay,
Just thinking about the.
so I send one of my mechanics out with an electrician, because we go out and work on the street lights themselves. We also put the Cape Verde flags up.
Oh,
This
yeah.
weekend, we
Oh,
switched
that's-
to like 4 red flags, every time the Irish flags go up. Our
That's
guys are
the
up there
only
at
this
5 o'clock in the morning. They'll be switching over to the French flags, hopefully if Mike remembers, but we've got a whole flag schedule, that truck's very busy. We wait on when we do the lights because we're paying top dollar for an electrician to come in, or multiple electricians. So what we wanna do is we wanna do 10 or 20 of them at a time, we don't wanna call them in for one light, because we're paying them kind of for the day, so we wanna get them to work out of it.
That's always separate, okay. Yeah, and will this assist in any way in those work picking out which truck around?
I wouldn't use this truck to do those lights, because it's too big, and it might be hard moving the boom around to get, I'm sure you could, but we'd probably pick up the whole road and set the wheel down with this truck, as opposed to the other truck that's made to go right up to it. That's why we would keep the other truck.
Where's it gonna live?
Gonna live down the highway, Bob, and you guys are gonna be screaming and complaining when they're gonna fit it, but we'll find something. Any place but the salt shed.
Yes.
So, yeah, I want to, I guess, reiterate, I think we're gonna go forward with this, but I think some of the concerns are one, it's very clearly, in Norwell, we know there's a tree report, I know it's Mike Green here. That's not always, I don't think, clearly defined or known, considering he's also doing flags, also helping on the roads and highway, and it's a very specialized skill, so I think a bit of pause to make sure that something this big, I think it's still the most dangerous job.
I think structural iron work is right
Yeah,
now,
it's right up there.
rated up there, but it is dangerous work, tree work's dangerous. But it's
also dangerous to just be working in the road, you know.
Right, no, and I just, that's all, it's, and we wanna make sure that there's enough need, and obviously we wanna make sure that, you know, electricity, we're taking care of those larger trees, and we're not, everyone's losing power. But, you know, we're in this new age of belt tightening, so.
No,
we wanna
and
make sure-
we looked at it as a way to potentially save some money for spending on, you know, over $130,000 a year. We work, it's just going up and up. Out of position to get people to make it stop performing more, that saves them.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I understand there'll always be need for those subcontractors, so that number could be lowered, and, you know, make sure that safety is always there. Folks know that, right, there is a pre-warn that's going to school, and, that's all, we just wanna make sure that there's clarity around.
And we have incentives in our laborers contract, you know, guys to get a bonus if they do get an arborist license, or a pesticides license, a couple of things we're working for. The arborist license takes quite a bit of schooling, and we haven't been able to send anybody to do it at this time. We did have an arborist on site for a while, he was one of our tree guys, he was very good, but eventually he went over private.
Anything else, no?
We're not.
I think we're fine, I like the idea of a reasonable price truck. Well,
Thank you.
We have a motion.
Move that the select board award the contract to purchase a new 2026 tree truck from Altech Industries in the amount of $277,000 and $501.
Second. Moved by Ms. Conlon, sorry, I thought it was more. Moved by Ms. Conlon, seconded by Mr. Gilmore, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? It is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
New tree truck.
Worth it for.
All right. Next on the agenda, we are ahead of schedule. We have a present, I want to make this clear, it says presentation, not vote. We're at presentation on Old Gates Adaptive Use Study. Grow. Corey, where are they? I saw Corey, there she is. The H&A. Welcome.
So I'll set the scene for the board then, sorry, Chip, and we all know we have the old gate buildings right now, it's empty, there's food there, for all intents and purposes. The zoning is residential, so we cannot put a business use there, would have talked about a long time ago, maybe doing one of those. Housing, where you have the building, I think we went, checked with our attorney, time, they wanted that your business, do that. It is a, again, zone residential as a municipality, we are exempt from use, which means we can put a municipal facility there. All, I was talking about whoever, it's actually Joel's firm that did the study, I think almost 6 years ago. If you read the town hall, about 45 million, Joel, 5, 6 years ago, so we don't see that in the realm of possibility. Zone for residential, so then the question becomes, okay, the zone for residential, could it actually be used for residential, what would that look like? Corey did all the work, she got a grant for us to do that, look at potential uses housing. Joel's company won the bid to do it, they've been looking at it for quite some time. So we're gonna give you kind of an idea what it would look like with different iterations, save the building, stay part of the building, don't save the building. Just to get the juices flowing for the board, and I'm sure this is gonna lead to probably a bunch of conversations, public meetings, things like that, but at least to kick it off and get the board thinking about what we could do there. Then we'll have to make a decision, if we want to go forward with something on the end, I'm just gonna get the building down. That's how we ended up here.
All right. So, I guess you can take it away, I think that was a good intro, maybe introduce yourself first and all.
I'm Joel Wagner, I'm with the director from the Digital State.
He's going to have to speak up here, so those of us, you know,
in that food.
Sure, my name is David.
Right.
Hey, my name is David Coben, I'm an independent consultant. Not sure how that works.
The mics are not amplified, they're just for the, so you have to speak out.
Okay, my name is David Coben, I'm an independent consultant, I've been working in affordable housing for about 40 years. And I, working with Joel on this, my end of it is to look at performance and budgets and think about, based on potential design options, is what's financially feasible, as a unit mixes, condo versus rental, and so forth, and I'm prepared to speak to that following Joel's presentation.
Jeremy Tobin, also with Vehicle Tech.
So there's a number of steps that we'll just quickly summarize tonight, and at the end, we prepared a memo that provided to the town, and so it gives a step-by-step concept of what we might do next to develop this property. And first, we had to look at the buildings. Once we looked at the building, there were several different options available. We looked at whether it's a renovation, whether it's a partial renovation, or whether it's a complete shakedown of the building and a replacement of the building in kind. Those were the three options that we looked at. The building's quite old. As you know, it's the centerpiece of the school campus, former Gate School campus. We're looking at the center building. The left side on the screen there is obviously the gym and the recreation departments in the wing behind the gym. The building was built in 1917. In the first phase, it's the center section of the Gates Middle School. And then in 1930, I'm sorry, they put a roof on the building, gave it a classical portico, built two adjacent wings on each side of the building. So the original building centerpiece is over 100 years old, and the main portion of this building is approaching 100 years. It's 96 years old today. This shows a rendering of that first slide, that what's in the sort of greenish tint is that lower portion of the building, and that's what we're studying. The recreation department's in the ground floor of the rear wing by the tennis courts, and the gym and the fitness program is in the gymnasium on the far left of that screen, and then obviously the senior center is on this side. So we did look at the other wing where the recreation department is. They don't use the whole building. It's very complicated to mix municipal offices and housing and the fire ratings and the building codes and the whole arrangement back there didn't really work out, and that's why we confined the study to this front portion that's the light green color slide. What makes the project a little bit more complicated is there are many levels in the building, and if you can see, the main floor of the existing building is a full 6 feet above the ground floor, which means that the basement level, or the first floor of that school, which would be housing, is 4 feet below grade. So you have a level that's halfway into the ground and then 2 levels above the ground to use. The level below grade has got some issues that Jeremy will walk you through. But the other issue is that there are many different floor levels in the building. Not only do you have to get from the grade outside up to the main level of the building, but you have to get within the building. That center lower picture shows there's ramps in the various wings that make it so the floor levels don't line up well, and it's not fully accessible today. The option that's a little difficult to explain, but we were asked, since the building is the age that it is, almost 100 years old from the last major renovation, is there an option to replace it in kind? And in kind renovation, we would bring the lower level up to grade, so it would no longer be stuck in the ground. You would have a building that looks similar to this, not exactly similar. It would be 3 full stories, and it was a worthwhile option to investigate. So it's one of the 3 options. So option 1 is renovating the existing school building. Option 2 takes a renovation of the existing building and then adds on to it. And then option 3 is to build that in-kind building. And all of these are sort of studied as a rental and as a condominium project. And the reason that we're doing this study is that it'll help the town narrow down their options so that when you go out for developers, request for proposal to do a joint venture project where the town contributes the building in some manner and the developer develops it and can take advantage of the tax credits, you can narrow down what that ask is and of the developer, so you know what they're proposing. Jeremy, do you want to walk us through the
Yeah, of course.
options relatively?
Yes, so this is, as Joe mentioned, there are three approaches to this. The first one will be just a renovation of the existing building. You see it's what's already there, it's what's in yellow. What's circled in red is where we need to add additional parking. So I think the parking need for the site is the one space for each bedroom. And in this plan, we have 34 one-bedroom units, kind of the size of a existing classroom. Makes it kind of, it's a good size for about a one-bedroom unit. So we need to add 34 roughly parking spaces, and we can kind of tuck them in, you know, add a couple to the existing parking lot for the senior center, add a few along the road on the side of the ball field there. Not a lot of site work. And this is the lower level that Joe mentions. Basically, what's in blue is kind of areas that we can't use for houses. And the big center block is, you know, that area that's 6 feet or so, 4 to 6 feet below the ground. And it's also, there's no windows there, so we can't really use that for housing. But possibly we can get some amenity spaces in there, and the site in the lower half of that block, we have storage and the site. That's where all the existing boilers are, heaters, equipment. So it's not a nice place to put in that situation. And then there's also a lot of asbestos throughout the existing to deal with a renovation. Here's kind of a typical floor. You can see all the different places, all the different units you can get in. I forgot how many are in each floor, but total is 34 units. There's option 2, where we renovate the existing buildings, everything we did in option 1, we spoke about, and then an additional building on the back side of the site. This one we have 64 units total. So we'll keep the same unit mix in the existing building, 34 one bedroom, 2s and 3s. And obviously more units, we need more parking spaces, so we're looking at adding new parking spaces to the existing senior center site, adding a few below the new addition, adding a larger parking space, parking lot, sorry, where the existing tennis courts are. So to do this, we'll have to lose 2 tennis courts and kind of revise the fields. So I think the walking path, the soccer field, we're going to keep that at roughly the same size. So we turn that 2 degrees, we can kind of fit it on the rest of the site.
So this is all driven by trying to create a project that's of scale that would be interesting to a developer. 34 unit renovation is one thing, a 68 unit or larger is generally more favorable. What's really nice about the scheme is it has a courtyard between the existing building and the new building, so it creates a space for the residential folks that's separate from their recreational. There's a nice separation of your public and private spaces, given that this is a campus of mixed use between all those different functions. Sorry, Jeremy. Go
No,
ahead.
no worries. And this is the typical floor plan. So like I said, the existing building will be kind of the same one bedroom units. And they'll have a lot of the new 2 and 3 bedroom units in the new addition. And we looked at this at 2 different sizes. One, we'll get a few more units with the condo rental. But Dave can go with that a little more in depth later. Right, so this will be the smaller addition we can put on if we do go to rental, but in the new building, we do the same thing on 2 and 3 bedrooms.
Just jumping through.
And this is take the existing building down, replace it in somewhat kind, and then expand it out back. It's kind of almost connecting the first 2 options. The new building. And this will be 66 units here, and it'll be a full mix of 1 bed, 2 beds, 3 beds. 40 some odd percent 2 beds, 33% 1 bed, 22%. And then this treats the field and the tennis in a kind of a similar way to get all the parking stuff. For this, we need 77 spaces. Slightly bigger parking. Typical floor plan, you know, we have 1s, 2s, and 3s on each floor.
But the beauty of, if you like the new building, is you're not confined to a classroom, so now your apartments can be what they want to be, even though the building looks like the existing building on the outside. The bearing walls are gone, and you have a lot more freedom in terms of your layout. David?
Okay, well,
Well, each one of these options was priced out by a cost estimator that does work for developers, so it's not chapter 139 work. Once you do this kind of 40B project, so this is a cost estimate that provides the financial cost data that David can then put into a pro forma and show you how these different scenarios perform. Developer happens to be in the next town over, so look familiar with local costs and practice.
well, I think just to be clear, you know, the one takeaway in terms of the cost estimates is that it's a little, maybe 10% less expensive to build new, to try to sure you're starting. But, you know, that's part of a larger equation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the work I did here, but first I want to preface it, since you use the term Katie, choose it forward. I think, you know, part of what's important to get across tonight is that we're not saying that these are the only options. We're just saying, you know, could something be done here that's workable, that's marketable, that's financially feasible? And, you know, ultimately, you know, you put out an RFP and see, okay, my suggestion is that you leave the parameters pretty broad and not just say only condos or only seniors. In fact, the seniors in second, or, you know, only rent, whatever. And see who comes in. And it might be that, you know, somebody comes to you and says, well, you know, I see your feasibility work, but I can do this, you know, a totally different way. And, you know, that appeals to you. So leave the door open, but, you know, you're probably gonna have certain threshold, you know, non-negotiables, like we don't only want to lease the land, or we're open to dividing the land and deeding over some of it, some covenants about affordability. And you might say, well, we want at least $1 million for the site, or $1 million or nothing, you know, we're agnostic. So I think, you know, leaving the door open to a lot of things is the way I would suggest. And we talked about, okay, condos and rentals, we talked about rehabbing construction and mix, we talked about, I think, the fact that any of the scenarios that I think we want to pursue here, my understanding is that the one proposal is to get all the units to count under the mass, laws of chapter 40B, so do that, you have to have at least 25% and be affordable, is defined a little differently if you do the rental versus owner. You know, the income thresholds or ceilings for, first time buyers in condo, about 80% of the rentals. You top out at 60 and you know, that's somewhat 30%. To put that in perspective, I think, you know, on the rental side for family and employees, might have a range of incomes between, say, you know, 30 and 90,000, ownership side, and closer to 120. It's a ceiling. You know, we talked about bedroom mixes and trying to have more, larger units, particularly if you go for rental. The funders for the state that are pushing in that direction. You know that there might be some sentiments about senior housing, and again, I will qualify, but I'm agnostic here. You know that you already have a relatively new senior developer here, I think, Boston Green, and which received a state tax credit award about 4 or 5 years ago, I think. And so it's pretty unlikely, in my experience, that the state is going to come back and give you another chunk of financial assistance for senior housing, since most of their priorities are towards the larger units. You can good try, but I'm just saying I think it's a stretch, just in terms of feasibility. We also, you know, coming back to the notion of how do you, what's the disposition of it? Is it by deed or is it by lease? You know, you want to lease the land. I think that that's a little harder if you go in the condo route, because I'm 65 years into ownership and I want to sell. You go for mortgage and banks as well. So, I don't think you're going to be owner of company because you won't take it back. So I would suggest that if you are open to some kind of condo situation, and you, in the RFP, you say to the proponents, you know, you tell us about this position and tell us, you know, what might work. You know, they're inclined to keep it on a leasehold basis, but, you know, you understand that maybe that doesn't work. Talk to your attorney, you know, have your attorney weigh in on this, because, you know, someone like us, you know, we're have anecdotes, but you know, we're not looking at the statutes on the law. To come back to numbers, my sense is that condominium direction would be a little more financially feasible, because the market rate units, and we price things based on looking at actual sales. Had an appraiser give me some information. We threw out all the ones that were overlooking the ocean, and in 2-family houses, and you know, also talking to Super Pesa, who I think is a local realtor here. And when you have in the ownership structure, you can get, let's say, between 1, 2, or 3 bedroom units, you know, $550 to maybe close to $800,000 for 1, 2, 3 here. So that the market units help subsidize the affordable units, right? Also, it's much quicker to get what let's call soft money from the state for the ownership, because you don't need as much. And there's a big 2-3 year delay if you want to do a rental project, no matter how much merit it has. You know, that will slow things down. And does that mean that construction prices keep going up, interest rates come down, or is it the reverse? I mean, you're all in the fields where things move around all the time, so you know how that is. I think I'm winding down. As I said, on the rental side, we
Just move the mic over. They're having trouble on TV here. Sorry, it's not you.
All right, I'm sorry if I.
No, that's not negative.
So, you know, on the rental side, as I said, it takes longer, it requires a lot more subsidy. I would assume that whether we go with rental or condo, that town will have to be able to chip in some money through the CPC or otherwise. Partly because the state looks for local match, and partly because the developer's gonna need some, extra money. I think with the rental, you have a smaller project, which to the extent that you try to, boost up your 40B count, works against you, but the subsidies for rental is sort of top out, so if I can only get $1 million from this program, building 30 units versus 60 units, it's not quite as a stretch. And let's see. I think I have covered most of what I want to say, unless Thomas gonna pull my shirt down and tell me I need. Oh, the other thing is, we talked among ourselves about the use of historic tax credits, which is independent of other resources. And you can only use those in a rental project. Obviously, you couldn't do them in the new construction, where it's all new construction, but when you tie into the renovation of the building, so that could add some money. We do not, otherwise you can't use those in owner occupiers.
Right, and I wanted to mention the tax credits as well, was the advantage of, having a developer be a partner is that entity is eligible for the historic tax credits and the affordable housing tax credits, what makes the project affordable, whereas if the town does the development themselves to avoid having to split off property with tax credits on available. But I think what David's getting at is that in order to do a condominium project, you'd have to figure out how to make that center portion of the building sit on a lot that would meet the requirements of the zoning bylaws. So it's not impossible to put a lot line through the building between the recreation department and the Gate School, but it's something that would have to be figured out. Where we were going at the end is we had a memo of next steps, which you saw, and the first one would be to decide how to write an RFP for this project. And we sort of put in the most aggressive timeline we could think of. You could always go longer, but we said if you make a decision about which way to dispose of the land, that has to go to town meeting, and you would have to sort of make that decision early fall or in advance of whenever town meeting you wanted to bring that up for vote. You don't have to do that.
No, I think that you all know the disposition process generally. And, it's somewhat pretty well regulated.
Then you'd have to prepare the RFP for the proposals once you knew that the disposition was approved by the community to do this project. Developer would respond, the developer awards. It's basically a 3-year timeline for whenever you start the process to get the project starting construction. And then construction is another 18, 24 months time. So, that will.
Yeah, can you, I'll open it up, but can you just kind of go over a bit more on the financials for those 3 different options, kind of, I don't know, it's like a per unit cost, but I know it was in there. Can you just quickly go through those 3, what we're kind of thinking for, per unit or?
Well, they're really, really 6, because we looked at 3 owner, 3 rentals, but, for the most part, we were looking at per unit cost of about, $550, $575. A lot of that is, as you might imagine, driven by construction costs. Our estimator was putting that at $306 for new construction and maybe $335 or so for renovations on the existing building.
So John, so when I'm saying the option 1, C1 renovation, 19 million, and then this is like an eye test.
Yeah.
So 27 or 37 for 2. 37 and then 39. So is that, yeah, I'm a simple man. I'm trying to be as clear, because this whole thing is not, as we see, is not clear. Is this what we would be asking residents? Is this town and construction companies? Would it be
That's the total cost.
total cost?
Total cost of what they would want to do out there. And then depending on what we were proposing or what we were asking, the developer would be looking, just as we did in Boston Green, would be looking for us to put up something, or to make the, so he can get the affordable unit, because he would be able to sell them on his operator rent. So that would depend upon which one we pick, what else he got for tax credits, what else he got for, she got historic credits, so that would really depend on which option we choose, what the market looks like, what we got there. But there would be a contribution from now. What do we put up?
Well, what I,
1.2.
what I put in here, because I don't know exactly how much you really have to play with it, know that you have other uses for the money. I penciled in $2 million, and, bearing in mind that particularly in a smaller pool like this, that might be a heavy lift, and maybe it comes in over 2-3 years during the construction period. So, that's something to work out with the developer, but, and as I said earlier, the state is going to want to see not a dollar for dollar match, but, something more than a day sale.
So our cost on last week, we put up $1.2 million, the rest was, grant numbers, was it?
And we gave them the land.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
which
that's
is huge, and they didn't have to do demolition of any kind.
Yeah.
So that was a good deal for all of us.
Yeah.
really.
I think, the idea, what was that I ran, I had no acquisition, but that's not to say you couldn't leave that as an open question, which I would, if I were in your shoes, that's what I would do. I would say, make us an offer.
So that the cost that you pay would be offset by the disposition costs.
I mean, in a sense, it's.
The more the developer paid for the land, the more they went back on the other side.
Yeah.
So it could cut both ways.
Yeah.
Well, I have more, I'll come back, and we'll go here, and then we'll have the public, ask some questions, but.
It's hard for me to contemplate a question at this point. The options are there. Which is a 3-year. I think the decision has to be when do you think this is going to go? But then you have to see what the market's going to do for it. And is it apartments? Is it condos? There's so many variables here that it's I don't have any questions at this point because there's just too much in the air. Yeah, too many unanswers. And I want to stress that I think that's just the nature of indeed. Yeah. Personally, my thought would be to, if we're gonna do it as big as you can. I would think that. Do it small, the town's always gonna be saying, well, why did they want to do that? Losing a couple of tennis courts, they can find another place for some tennis courts. I'm not worried about that. But the idea of building a whole new, I think to a developer, that's gonna be more appealing. Take it all down, build up a replication, but make it all modern and new, no skeletons, no surprises. I mean, more in their line of what they do, their standards. That, I think you're probably the most optimal where you get the most price. I don't know. If I-
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, all this is taking it all in. All the other.
Well, I guess where I'm just jumping in comments, I'm pleased to see we've reached a point where we've decided it's housing. Because we've been batting around a whole bunch of other possibilities for a while. I also just on a personal level would be more in favor of trying to add some units that are not just little 1-bedroom units. As lovely as Boston Green is, they're very small. And so I think that if we're looking at the affordability committee to attract teachers, young professionals, that sort of thing, I think we need to look at
not even just two bedrooms, but three bedrooms. And I also think that, it's a beautiful part of town, it's very attractive. And so I feel as though it has a lot more appeal than some developments that wind up in less than optimal places. And there are already amenities there, which is great. And I would personally like to see us knit together that campus with Central School, with the ball field that's over there, with the library. And we've already got a walk all the way down, decent sidewalk from there down to the harbor. So I think it's potentially very attractive if we do the right thing. Having said that, I'm also aware of the neighbors. I think we have to be sensitive to they may not want some all of a sudden hulking building or two hulking buildings in what they consider a very, you know, low-key area, but that's for, you know, confusion. But and it's financing that's the problem. So.
Could I ask one question? Sorry. What is it costing us right now to take care of the building in its existing condition for animal? Heat, lights, insurance, ballpark. Vacant with ghosts.
It's approaching 6 figures a year. For heat, electricity, and it's a very old building and quite a long.
So you're saying 90,000, is that what you're saying, approaching 6?
Yes, yeah, I try to get it off the top of my head, so it's in the neighborhood of 90 to 100,000.
Yeah, I remember 80s,
Yeah.
that was years ago, around that.
So that we're just continuing to. But how long has it been vacant so far?
5 years, 6 years.
So we're already $500,000
I've
behind.
been here 6 and was vacant before I got this.
So it's almost 700,000 in the wind. Which is, I think we have to keep it.
Well, the
secure.
food pantry's not from Jane.
And we're lucky to have it.
Yes. And the
Very
rec
expensive.
department is happening there, and I know we're not talking about that facility, but there's a lot of life over there still.
We will see you soon.
Yes, please. Thank you very much for all of this work. This is exactly the information you brought. We needed this when we were trying to decide the senior center originally, we looked at lots of different options. And one option that the community wasn't too thrilled was to rebuild them entirely. So I have a question, and it's completely out of the scope, but you looked at the site, you guys, what you guys do, right? An option we have not considered, and I would think any of these options, we're either gonna lose the tennis court, we're gonna lose some of the field. There are additional site costs that would probably be outside of this original scope. So let's say you go with a big development, and you can gerrymander. I know there's somebody in the back that we're considering needs more parking. It's gonna encroach on that bit, which means we're then faced with do we build it in future, do we do that? That's completely out of the scope of the business plan. So those costs are there. So that being, the question is, anyone, if anyone has tomato, please do not throw this out. The original idea of moving the original, that building, because 100% because of cost. Would you think that you could cite something else on that parcel that would enhance the site rather than trying to go with that? Have you even thought about that at all? You were even free reign on the site?
We didn't look at that.
I know it's outside the scope.
So you're saying if you didn't try to fit within the existing footprint, we can have some greater flexibility.
Yeah.
I mean, we can take a look at it. I think that one of the things that we've found out of looking on this some more is that the space that's made by the school and the senior center and the gym is actually quite a nice space with the church, and then all speaks, those buildings speak to each other nicely and make a an appropriate public space for the building and, you know, that there's sort of a nice connection to the fields and, I don't know. I'm sure that moving the building could come up with an equally good site plan. This one, I think, happens to be quite nice as well.
Because the continuity between the elements.
Well, not only the continuity of buildings, but the way they make the town green type space.
You know, and as I recall, the original cost that I established 6 years ago was just the Great Lane 6 years ago because of asbestos. So
Yeah. Nice.
if this board, you know, thought, you know what? We put out an RFP and no one bites. We still have that question about it. We're carrying the buildings empty, it's been liability. I really think we have to have that in the next conversation.
Wanted to, maybe that's a question, but I'm gonna continue on this line of thought. You do this for a living. This seems like a complicated project. And I think what Karen's trying to get at, wrong. We have limited resources. Given the complexity, does this seem like an appropriate site given the complexity? Or, no, if you were in our seats, you say, hey, you could probably do a better place someplace else and accommodate 50 units, 60 units, given how expensive this may be. Or, because I look at these numbers and I'm getting scared at $500,000, close to 600,000 when we're done for one unit. Given that everything goes up. I mean, again, you do this all the time. Is this really the appropriate place? Or do you think, given if we had another area, maybe accommodate more people? I know it's pretty, I know it's nice, but this town is just very close to $250 million on other projects. Like how difficult is this compared to other ones where it's like, nah, we can do this, this is that. That's the clarity I guess I don't have. Because everything I've heard is there's asbestos, it's difficult, it's there. Everyone tells us just do something with it. But is this really easy, not easy, or would you be looking someplace else? Sorry, that's.
Well, I think the easy part of it is that by going to a developer, it takes the town out of the equation. You do have some costs, but you're not renovating the building, you're not having to take the building down. So the goal of this was in part, what's your least cost option for doing something on this site, which the developer partnership is the answer to that question. And it allows the work to be done in a non-Chapter 149 process, which is still expensive. The reason those units are 500,000 is that it costs 330 to renovate the units, and there's other costs that go into the project. So the numbers are what they are. Is there another site in Scituate that's better? I don't know, but I think the question is going to come out of the public process about how big of a building might fit on the site. But I think that it's there's probably aren't that many sites that are as nice as this in communities for affordable housing. This would be one of the nicer projects and one of the more attractive, I think.
So you think the developer is gonna and going on this?
I think the development community will be very interested whether they can overcome the difficulties in building. But it's the right town, it's the right location, it's a beautiful demographic.
Everything you've seen, they think they can overcome, even with those high price points. Because I want to balance making, if we're gonna do this affordable.
If I may, I think you're not committing until someone comes in and you're leaving the door open to saying, we only got 3 bids, we don't like any of them. You know, you look at it, this is not, as I understand it, you're gonna take a low bid or a high bid or whatever. And I understand your sticker shock. I started out, this business was 40,000 units. So, but that's what it is. And frankly, to the extent that you're suggesting that maybe there's a nicer site, I think all sites come with something, and including neighbors. And so I don't know, I mean, I don't know town, I don't live here, so, but I think it's worth a try and see who shows up. What they say. So if they say, well, the only way we can make this work is to go 8 stories up, well, maybe that's not ideal.
Yeah, I wanted that clarity of, is this really a site treating before you actually that could be. We said this before, if I give this over for $1, I'm doing it. And some of these other contractors are like, I wouldn't touch it. They're like, see you later. I said, no. Like, so now we're saying, this is,
We did have one developer look at it and he said, yeah, it's doable. But the more additional units he can build, the cost goes down because the cost of renovating those units is gonna be high.
Right.
That was kind of a back of the envelope, but he said, oh yeah, absolutely, it'd be better if you took it down and build everything new, as we talked about, but you could definitely do something there, it really depends upon what you wanna do.
There are specific developers that are keen on that type of work. They're out there, and they know how to do it. Who did meeting house? That was Suffolk, wasn't it?
Well, the, Blossom Green,
No, meeting house, the last big one that was done in this town.
30s.
Yeah, that was Suffolk's first time.
Grantham Group that did Blossom Green, I don't know who did.
So I mean, there's some good companies around it. But they're gonna look for, like you said, the more they can build. And then can they fit it in?
Again, the question was, could you do housing there? Because your options are do nothing, which is not an option. Municipal use, which again, we talked about a town hall, but I don't think this board or the town has an appetite to spend that kind of money. I don't want to stand up, try to push that one. Or housing, so the question was, well, is housing feasible? The answer is yes. And now the board's gonna have to have conversations, which of those roads do we want to get out? Do we want to do housing, we want to just tear it down and leave it open space? Really, that's really what it comes down to. It's the option of municipal use because of the process.
If we were to tear it down, we would have to pay to tear it down.
Yes.
And restore it to some suitable looking flora and fauna area.
It could also be to demolish the building, bring it back, and also, I know Kevin Kelly has a number for that. You would have to put heating source, hot water in the A-wing and the gym, because right now they're coming out of the B.
As opposed to doing some sort of an advertisement, see what developers would be interested in, bring their people in and giving final suggestions, what they think they can do for X, for land control, for the lease versus whatever.
sure.
So because this would be likely put out as sort of front 48, then the density and all of those restrictions that would be in the residential zoning would be superseded.
The density, yes. Because it'd be 40.
Because, you know, if it's 64 units, 120 people, only there you got one car one car,
That's controlled.
density issue.
That's controlled by you. You put out, if you want to go forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just had a couple of questions, most of them answered. One was the rule of development bit on this. But then you mentioned the states leaning away from, you know, the smaller units toward, you know, funding
Or more family
family versus
versus-
seniors.
just specifying number.
Okay,
And usually they like to see roughly 2/3 to 3/4 be 2 bedrooms or more.
okay. And then give an example, there have been any projects around that are good examples.
Besides what I did,
No, once you,
no. Well, I am on the board of a nonprofit in Newton. We own, two former middle school buildings that were converted 20, 30 years ago to mixed income housing. They happen to have soccer fields and tennis. And a lot of parking. So, yeah, I mean, it's very common that, you know, towns have disposable property. And this is one of the uses, I think, going back to the comment about, you know, who would love to do this. I think, you know, there's some developers who just love these old buildings, and, you know, they want to play architect. And, you know, so we might find somebody who's like, oh, I'm in love with this. I'm not sure who it is, but, you know, so it's hard to know, to see, but we see that a lot, and as my colleagues were saying, there are challenges when you're dealing with an existing structure, so, you know, let's hope those.
I just want to clarify, the gym is a non-negotiable item, is that right? We decided that?
That has always been left to recreation.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because it's a big building. On the other hand, for us to replace it would be virtually impossible. So I just want to put it out there that I think that that's not something, we don't want to go there, and it does bring money to that, general
Can you
city.
say that in the RFP?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was never any conversation that I've had that had anything to do with the gym anyway. That's your thing.
Alright, that's it, we're gonna open it up. I'm gonna say, I honestly, I don't have a great sense of how folks in town feel, besides, let's do something with it. Whether tearing it down, housing, all the different, so I'd love to hear folks. Yes.
And Irvine, 10. Is that site sewer?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
One of the problems with the 40B is it has precluded families. They're generally 2 bedrooms. I am a big proponent of mixed use, 2 and 3 bedroom units, rental, and we desperately need in this town. Desperately need rental units so that when teachers start out at $45,000 a year, someplace that you can live. Try to get them into a $500,000 condominium, just doesn't fly. It just doesn't fly. So I understand that this is somewhat sacred and it's going to upset a few people. But the bottom line is the future. What is the future here? We need affordable rental housing for families. I don't know, little kids going to live on. A 1 bedroom at a 40B or somebody that apply for it is $2,000 a month. And that doesn't pass the street rate test. It really, really doesn't. I understand about the facade, I understand that it is what it is, if some of it can be saved, great. But the idea of adding to it and bringing in 64 more units, in for dime, in for dollar, make it work, make it right. And the sooner we do it and make a decision, not everyone's gonna be happy, they're not. They're not. There are people, somebody said to me too, I don't want Scituate to change. Every time somebody new moves into this town, it changes, because they moved in. So, we have to bite the bullet, make some hard choices, they're not gonna be popular, and this is a process, but I would have preferred handouts here tonight, look, I really would have. Keep it as open and as transparent as you possibly can. And, you know, I'm on CPC, I was there when West Green was proposed. I'm on the planning board, which even though so friendly 40B is gonna go before zoning board of appeals, plans to come with the state road too. You always do. So. That's where, not hating for this, but we need it, we desperately need housing, and this would be the perfect spot for it. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and that's, I will say, I think it's one of the goals of this board is to make whatever the decision is, make a decision so we can finally move forward, whatever that will be. So I appreciate that. Anyone else, thoughts, comments, questions? Yes? Mario?
Word price for the evening. Having sat on at least two gates, reuse building committees and worked with Joel on siting and developing the current senior center. I'm glad that I was thinking about, seriously thinking about doing something with this building. We have to do $100,000 a year just to write a check and keep it there is not a wise thing to do. I see some potential issues with what was presented tonight, but, you know, they're not major. Parking is a tight site. There's not a lot of extra land around there. I know that currently the senior center, I tried to get in there today. There wasn't a parking place to be had anyway. So I think to get the parking that you need, I think the developers are going to want to probably take down what is there and design a building where you can get in sufficient parking to serve the needs of people who are neither. You know, I was at a CPC meeting last night and literally the people were there talking about changing the complexion of the field. Pickleball people were there talking about converting those tennis courts to pickleball courts. So, you know, there's ways around those. I'm not saying that those issues are insurmountable. There are going to be some extending circumstances that you're going to have to deal with. And I really feel that, I don't know, in general, how much of the A wing is being used, Jim?
First floor.
First floor.
First floor, second floor is a storage.
My thought would be tear the A wing down and build town, most likely would have to build a facility for rec functioning for their needs. But, you know, that's another, that wing is probably what Joel, that wing is 50, 60 years old. Well, that's gonna be a continuing problem. You know, you guys looked at it 5, 6 years ago. There any better condition than the main part of the problem. So, you know, I think if we're gonna look, if we look at it, let's look at the whole site. You do what needs to be done to bring the whole site up to, you know, 2024 or 2027 or 8, by the time we get those standards. And I think it could be a wonderful site. We have a lot of potential. So I'm glad to see that the town is looking seriously at moving forward, at least looking into it, see if there's a developer out there who said, yeah, I think I can make this work. And something that we the town will agree on. Thank you.
Susanna Green, 337 First Road. I just wanted to bring up, the fact that when the senior center was looking at sites, one of the sites that was being looked at was Scituate, and that was determined to be designated for housing. That's why the senior center could not build there. So I don't know, you would ask about other sites through, so I don't know if that is being looked at as well for housing. Where, again, this is a very congested site. There's a lot of things going on. When the senior center was originally proposed to be built here, it was also proposed to be knocked down building and sort of last minute got knocked down and put, you know, adjacent to our homes. So I definitely have concerns about too much use on site, and we also have restrictions right now that protect us from, like noise and lights and things after a certain point of time at night. And we put in that sort of density of housing, it's gonna be a 24/7, it'll affect all of us with traffic, noise, lights, we can have police, fire, you name it. So there's that going on, we've got sports, we've got rec, parking, traffic, there's a huge problem already here. And you had also mentioned that people might not want to vote for town hall there. I would vote for that, because I think that's a better use where you're keeping it. But the same daytime use, you don't need as much parking, and you could probably get it to park with everything going on. So, based on that.
This one, the property in the Driftway, that's actually owned by the house we're talking about, by the town. So we don't own that, it's probably just one of that.
Anybody else?
You could talk about this all night long.
Yeah, no, it's a good, I mean, again, we're trying to, this is the start.
Right, we'll post this to the website, it's too big to send everybody, the packet was. We'll post the packet, we'll make sure we post the presentation on the website so we can take a look at it. And really, it's just, again, to start the conversation, at some point the board will have to decide, yes, we want to go down the shore, or no.
My fellow board members are gonna kill me when I say this, but honestly, folks, the public that's here, can you please talk to your neighbors like what you think we should be doing? We don't hear enough about something. I mean this sincerely. No matter where they are, you email us, say, hey, here's some of our thoughts. It's only gonna help the process. Please let us know.
I think having completed this work, I think it's very important. Gives us the tool to, throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks. And, before we were coming from a position of strength, and now we have that. So I think it was an appropriate step that's needed. To push up.
So, Mark.
Corey did all the work, I just wanted to be.
Thank you,
Corey. Wonderful as always.
Good.
At least the board now has some information to talk with me about. We probably, I go back and look at Joel's original estimate for turning the building into a town hall. We could do at the cost that we're seeing from the back of the album, what that would cost. Was it 40 or 45?
At the time.
Right,
Yeah,
that was 5-6 years ago. So.
I don't know if anyone here knows, does anyone have an idea of what the John Green project cost per unit? So we
Find out.
2-bedroom units down there, I don't know who's getting 3s. But I'm just sort of curious to know, so that, when people see these big numbers, they might say, well, wait a minute, and if you're looking at it over the course of 30 years, it's not quite as daunting as it is when you.
I would find that out. Yeah. Also, anybody who didn't read the Sunday Globe, there's a big story in the Sunday Globe about what's happening in development and why no one's building now because of the interest rates, because of the costs. Just something to keep in the back of your head.
Oh, they're not doing something now, no, it's just sitting there.
Yeah. Costs
You
much,
have to
too much.
look at that, it's been a very attractive site at one point, but.
It'll come back around.
Yeah,
They
no,
do
things
some
usually
great
do.
job. Move forward.
Yes, you got 2, yes.
One thing, everybody's upset with 7% interest rates. When I bought my house 50 years ago, it was 7%. And when I bought my house 40 years ago, it was 12.5%.
It went up to 19%.
Yes,
My
so.
father was a real estate broker, I remember.
Don't worry about
Your
interest
interest
rates.
rates.
You're up, yeah.
We're gonna get the last word, then we're gonna thank everyone.
Just one last thought to Joel, we had numerous discussions in the site that's being developed, this evening, and we talked about when and if it will need to be expanded and enlarged at some point, or just ask that whatever site development is being considered.
Oh, Springs Eternal.
I won't be around for that. That,
Good
you
point.
know, I think you said that the way the building was constructed and designed, there would be option to add on, but, I mean, Marshfield, they can double the size of their senior center in a matter of like 10 years. And our building is already at max now.
Well, they built that senior center without being able to use the second floor, that was the flaw in that design down
Yeah,
there. So,
I just throw that out there, so you guys kept it in consideration.
Well, thank you all, the brief is really helpful. Yeah, you know, it's very comprehensive, thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.
We don't, may not, if we are gonna take a 3-minute recess. You gonna vote on recess?
I drink too much water.
All right, Seth, we're taking a 3-minute recess. 3 to 4.
Got it, thank you.
You wanna make more way to.
Start. All right. We are back reconvened, a little break. We are now talking, the next discussion, water rates and sewer rates. Go through water rates.
I will be mindful of the board's time, I know you have other things in your agenda, and this is the second go around for this. Just to frame what we're gonna talk about tonight, at last meeting 2 weeks ago, we talked about whether or not the board wants to support a capital project moving forward at a certain rate. Addressing the revenue culture for the master meter condominium billing change, and rate proposals that only look at usage and not the base rate. So this is the funds that are coming in from the base rate charge, just so you know where it breaks down. Not surprisingly, bulk of it is from the 5/8 inch local residential. 1% rate increase is 40,000, you can see it on screen, $40,446 on the base rate. Based on our service connections for fiscal '24, a 1% increase for just the usage is about $34,230. So collectively, if you do something for both of them, it's $74,676. So the people who have memories will notice this is slightly lower because this was revised because of the master meter condo load. Just a refresher of, this is the debt that we have approved right now and outstanding but not issued, and we're not paying back principal or interest on it currently, and these are the different projects. Not all of this debt's gonna hit at the same time as we stated before. If we look at the black line, that's currently what that we're paying back in principal. So if you start layering those projects in, you see that we're going to have to address rates on the projects we've already approved. Question that we posed at the last meeting was, does the board want to adopt something that we have general fund, which is a hard dollar line limit for that? So we've been in a period of aggressive infrastructure repair and upgrades to the water system, but at some point, discussion affordability is into play, and do we want to cap it? We want to say, okay, we only want to have this much debt service that we have to pay back in the operational budget, and we have to make priorities on the projects that come before us. So the retiring debt service between 24 and 25 is 0. Sorry.
Right, so, I mean, that's a huge, do we tackle that now, or do you wanna, I mean, that's a huge discussion. Do we cap essentially what we're?
You can, because that's one of the recommendations that we're bringing forward to you, is right now, we're at about 3 nuclear on the payback. So with those other projects, we're gonna pop up, and for the next few years, maybe as much as $1 million, depending on when things come forward. Like I said, not everything's gonna hit at the same time, and we have something all about how to do that. So where do you want to cap that? If you want to cap it, or do you want to say, no, I want the flexibility to keep proving projects as they come forward?
So there's no cap now.
so there's no cap now other than our approval of this one. So the question on that piece is, which I think you're starting to go to the next slide, is, you know what the retirement schedule looks like. If you do the math on what that, if we were to, let's say we capped at the top red line. We know what the downside is that can be applied to additional then from that, you can figure out what we can afford, basically. What's the top red line? It's
4.3.
Basically, that gives you room to add more projects beyond probably that room.
Say that again.
The top line is the 4.5, so it gives you room to add additional projects
Without
you already have
impacting
room.
the rates.
Well, no, you're gonna have to impact the rates right away. Because your rates currently are affording what you had in 2025. Right. So we have built some of these projects into the rates already, but not all of them. So that's, right now, one of the issues we talked about financial policies was your debt policy. So the water enterprise, half of the operational budget is debt service, which is incredibly high. But for what the water enterprise needed, that was what the town needed to do, what the residents supported, the focus of Scituate. The question is, have we reached that point where we gotten past the cost of critical, and now we can start being strategic with that capital? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a discussion that's held for this raise, but we wanted to put it out there to have it in the board's mind of when is enough for the galloping capital plan and water enterprise.
So the first question we have to answer is how are we gonna pay for the stuff we already promised, right? So we're gonna have to do something. Second question is if the appetite for increasing rates is waning or declining, that, yeah, to your point, Mr. Chair, it was, you know, if we had an aggressive 10-year plan, we would make it a more conservative. So the question, the one other question I don't, when I did all this background, read all your great work, is understanding exactly what our operations cost, forget about that, so we'll probably get to that in a minute, but that I really think is relevant in, you know, are we paying, if half of our operations is debt, right? When we consider our base rate, is it a combination, and we wanna cover our operations costs? Is it covering both of those elements, or is it just the non-debt operation?
It's covering both, because your operational costs also increase, so you have contractual bargaining increases, and if you remember from 2 years ago, the chemical costs went up 77% in 1 year, electricity for generalized. So your operational costs are going to increase. But you also, the big driver of your cost increase, your rate increases over the past 6-7 years has been debt. Has been making this capital plan very aggressive to address the years when it wasn't as such.
And so just to follow, I mean, essentially, you're suggesting we create like a debt ceiling, a federal debt ceiling. But if we ever had to go above it, we'd have to all come together and say, all right, this really matters, but we want to start capping this. Anything over 4.5, it's a no-go unless there's some emergency. But everything that's already built in, I guess my greater concern is, are some of these projects either ever gonna happen, or will they happen? Amarant water mains, gone from 2 million now to 6. And then the raising the reservoir we had in for 2 million, and then there's another old open bucket capital plan for 2 million. I mean, is there any way to push some of those things, considering we're not raising the reservoir in the next 2 years?
See, but that's not gonna, I don't see it.
No, it's in later.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'm just, I'm worried that we're planning for things that the date of them may not be aligning.
And I think that's a very reasonable point, that there are projects that have been approved that now may not necessarily be feasible, such as the Homework water mains. The cost, that's 6.3 million probably isn't enough to do the whole project with the cost escalation that has occurred. So is that something that could be rescinded? Absolutely. But that's a discussion for the board to, okay, recommended it, the town meeting approved it. Why are we not moving forward, or why are we missing?
So I'll let you continue through it, but yeah. I think it's a huge point for us to consider a cap.
We wanted to bring that forward to you to at least talk about it. So these are just, if you were to approve rate increases for all these things that are not already built into rates, you can see what the cost is a rate increase. So eliminating some of the commercial water main construction, then you won't incur the 8% that would happen on a rate. But if it doesn't happen for 10 years, then you have retiring debt service. Dover Wellfield is not issued, and the engineering for commercial water mains, and $3 million for water mains is issued, and all those projects are built in for rates already, so you make decisions, rate decisions to really get that service already. We spoke about the capital plan, Darren's point, how aggressive is it? It is fairly aggressive, and a big part of that is in that fiscal 28 year, we build well site engineering and construction. But again, that's something that needs to get its final permits to move forward.
So that's where my two, so Kevin, are those happening, FY 2026?
So-
Reservoir expansion and all bucket pond source water?
So we're looking at some of that. One of the things that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing some drilling in the near future and looking at additional sites, because when the escalation of Golden Wellfield went up, we hired a geotechnical engineer with an engineering study to come up with potential other sources of water that we use cheaper. Maybe the question is, we have to check that water and test it to see if there's PFAS in it or anything else. You know, the water quality being treated, we would have the capability of bringing that water back to the treatment plant and running the treatment plant and using that to supplement it, so we wouldn't have to build a treatment facility at that location. So some of that, I don't want to say it's fixed, but we're trying to work around, spend $12 million on well field. It's there, but hopefully we will have other options cheaper. You know, our tanks are something that is significant, our water tanks that are in need of replacement. And we had a great location that was cited for our latest tanks. The problem is that land is in a specific trust. Yeah, focus on help on that. You remember what that trust is?
Well, let's get back to
Okay,
my
sorry.
question, which is the reservoir. I'm surprised to see that there's both dredging and a reservoir expansion project. Are we really suggesting we're gonna do both? We're gonna dredge and expand? I thought we were either gonna dredge or expand, not dredge and expand.
I didn't think we could dredge all.
Wouldn't be dredging.
It's the sediment, the filter.
It's two different sites. One is the reservoir, the other is Old Oak Bucket.
Okay.
So Old
So
Oak
we think we
Bucket,
would do both of those.
Old Oak Bucket, we think we have up to, what do you say, 3 feet of silt at least.
That's removing silt.
So that's huge, and the reservoir expand, I guess I'm getting that. Like Gut says, that doing both seems almost impossible. The dredging seems feasible and doable. We're working on this reservoir expansion project since before I came on the board. And nothing has happened. There's $2 million sitting there. Sorry, I know it's late, but it's like, how long are we gonna carry this? Is that gonna be done?
And this is your capital plan, so none of this is
I know,
approved.
yeah. But we're building rates based upon,
Right.
well, honestly, we're really gonna raise, is the expansion project gonna happen? If you had to pick one, which one would you pick?
I would probably pick the land and silt.
Right, that's so easy, right? I'm not even an expert, I can tell you. Okay, that's
My
that was very helpful.
My answer to that is no, you don't do both.
Right, you
You
can't.
financially can't.
Right.
So you
Okay.
pick the one that's gonna give you the best bang for the buck. We did Dolan Wellfield, I would recommend thinning the silt and raising the reservoirs to get the water from someplace else.
This is good, this is helpful. Perfect.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
continue.
not all of it can be done.
Yeah, that's all.
It's right on file with that.
So for tonight's discussion, there's two things. The recovery of the revenue related to the master meter residential condominium, so that decision
where there's a revenue forfeiture of about $116,000. That's a 1.56% rate increase just to recover that. Increasing the long-term debt threshold, so if you chose to increase the threshold up to the 4.5 million, so a $1.15 million increase, we recommend that you step it over a period of years. So if you wanted to do about quarter of it, it'd be a 5% increase on the rates. If you decide that you don't want to increase the debt service budget, if you want to work within it, where it is now, there's nothing right now this year that we have to add to the rates to afford what's coming forward, which is payments in fiscal 25. So we would just be addressing the revenue forfeiture in the last 4 years.
So when you say 5.2%, that's total.
No, we'll be adding them together.
And
No, 1.56 to 5.12.
yeah, I know, but the 5.2 isn't to base and 5.2 base at 5% of the usage, it's 5%
To both, yeah, to both.
Correct.
To both, because we normally do base and usage. I
So
think
it'd be 5.6 for base and 5.6 for use.
So that
you needed over, if you wanted $383,000 and $74,000 is your 1% increase on base and usage, you need 5% on the bonus.
okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
Sorry, it's late, and the later it gets, the more confusing Nancy gets, she apologizes. And then she starts talking about herself in third person. So, these are the different.
My option 4 here in this chart is 0% for base rate, 5.5% for usage. No, maybe this chart's not.
This is updated from the deck.
This is what I thought I gave to Michelle, but maybe I gave it the wrong copy, so apologies if I did. So this is, the different options you have, where you want to go with it. So, if you wanted to just look at the usage rate, I did 4 options that way. So if you're only looking to put the, revenue replacement for the master meters at condos, option 2 would work. Or you could do option 1, that gets you about the same amount of money. So 1 only looks at usage, to Susan's point at the last meeting, we discussed this, that the base rate was becoming a hardship for people who had very low usage. So just pushing that over onto the usage side. So pretty much it's 2 options, 1 on both base and usage, 1 just on usage. For the different dollar values we've been looking at. So depending on where the board wants to go to what they want to address in this rate cycle, those are the different options that you could go through. I'm gonna come back to this. Like I said, if you adopted something with just a higher usage, users could get some relief by water conservation efforts, using the water review program to change out some fixtures that may be causing, that are less than necessary. We always want to put in our presentations what the rates have done in the past, just to be very clear and transparent. So last year, we only did a 2%, but we changed the tier differential, and that did create some issues. So those were addressed with the master meter. Condemning decision on the last meeting. If you were to do a 12%, that would be, make us the second highest water rate of the 11 communities around us. So if you do something less than that, it would probably be somewhere around the 3rd position where we've been. So it all depends on what you want to accomplish with this rate cycle.
Can you go back to the previous screen showing what we did for the last years?
Yeah.
See, you've got it at 628 as a 10% increase.
Yeah.
6 foot. Then on this chart, it's telling me a 16% increase.
Are you looking at water or sewer? Is it green or blue?
It's not gray blue. It's sewerage, excuse me.
That's okay, I was beginning to think I really screwed up.
Lying around here.
So I'm just gonna go back to the option slide. We weren't sure where the board was headed. So
if you're looking just about, we wanna hold it steady, we don't need anything specifically this year for debt, but we wanna have this discussion at a later date. We use part of the capital plan as to where we want this debt service to be as part of the budget, we certainly can come back to that.
Start here.
I would like to see us really do a deep dive with the expert on the water system about prioritizing the capital that's projected, timelines, look at it with an eye knowing that we may need to take the foot off the gas a little bit, but things like over the years, like we've been kicking the water tanks down the road. We can't do that anymore. I think we need to have sort of a reset of what key priorities are, what a realistic timeline to Andrew's point. Some of those timelines might have already stretched out because we learned more about them. I think we need to do a recess of that. You know, the pipes, an update on the pipes test. You know, we aggressively went to get rid of the cast iron and the asbestos. Now they're, you know, now we have it, they're in a place where we can flush them, they're a little stronger.
Right,
Is
and-
$3 million still the right number going forward out here?
Unfortunately, I think it is because we do have 110 miles of pipe. We
Well,
replaced
yeah.
30 miles, so I think just as maintenance, we almost have to do a mile, 2 miles a year. If there's a 50 to 60 year lifespan, that's just something that should be built in, like an oil change. We replace so much pipe per year.
I agree with you, because that's how we got to this in the first place, and so that's built in, it's the threshold that we see on the bar
As a
forever
minimum.
and ever and ever. That makes sense. But I think before I'm comfortable addressing anything other than the shortfall that hands, the 116,000. I would want to have that conversation and make sure that you guys really, you know, can't tell you on this list, which is, you know, do the dole, do this, do that. I think that we are all very clear in that we don't have to use the metaphor, we can't go to an unbottomless well, otherwise it's pockets, we just can't.
No, understood.
We've done all of the paths, and now we need to really think about, and I'm not saying none of these are not have-to-haves, but are we being as strategic as we possibly can about asking for more people to go into the projects? So for me now, I would be in favor of option 1 or 2 and find to put it on rates because, I mean, you know, we do have a little bit of base fatigue, that was my question on operation. And to postpone any additional until we have just a little bit more time to digest our priorities and possibly have the input from our financial projections and our capital, through the capital planning, thank you. Sounds like after 9, capital planning, because these are decisions that affect the entire town. Aren't being made at 9:30 at night without really information. That's my concern.
So taking that, we can dive deep into our capital plan in the future. And remember, we project some things in the capital plan. We are hoping that we might get permits sometime in the future to either raise the reservoir. And we're projecting the fact that we're ready in 2026 or 2027. So when Eric's filling that out, he's looking at a 5-year look ahead to say this is a potential. And it was there, so it wouldn't be like a surprise for the capital planning committee. Oh, what do you mean we gotta spend $2 million rate, or even select board? So a lot of it's projection, it doesn't mean it's gonna necessarily happen, but it's everything worked out perfectly on some of that, so.
Oh, understood, I just don't wanna start paying for things that are projected.
No, I agree, sometimes we run into bandwidth issues getting everything
Okay.
completed.
What you know that the capital plan, if you get to 2027, you don't have the permits, you would push that.
That goes out to the next,
Farther
we
out.
continue pushing them out, but we know it's gonna be a cost in the future, so we have to project
the earliest possible time.
Well, at the risk of being a simpleton, I'd like to be in the state of the people who are gonna be affected by these rate increases. But this rate increase will pay for the following. That's simple. And so if what we're raising the rates for is to pay for an inequity in the way we're charging the big, condo developments, then people should know that. And that, and I agree about the zero base increase, because I think that as a consumer, you certainly have more control over the usage, and you don't have control over the base. And unfortunately, the base is what some people who really are pinched, but that's what they look at. So that's my 2 cents.
Was there, maybe I missed it in here, I'm sorry, is there, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
I just had a quick question on, we were saying we have to make this decision for the rate cycle, when does that start?
So if
If we're decided this cycle,
the board decided not to make a decision tonight, the first order bills will go out at fiscal 24 rates. Which means any decision you make, more specifically for the sewer enterprise, you're gonna have to make a higher rates decision, because you're only gonna recapture that revenue over 3 quarters. That's how we can start this in May, just to get 3 to 4 cycles.
So if we're only contemplating the shortfall because of the change in the large multifamilies, would we, and we were gonna think about just focusing on the usage aspect of things, would it have to be, because I see there in option 1, it would be 127.881. Yet we only have to make up 116,000, could we maybe make it 2.75 for usage?
Yeah, the only problem is
I mean,
there's more variable when it's on the usage side.
oh, of course there is.
Yeah,
So maybe I'd be cutting my nose off, like my face.
well, we might be back having the same conversation.
Right,
in
all right,
6 months.
How did I take that back?
So help me explain the shortfall. We raised rates 2% on everybody.
Correct.
So our total revenue from last year to this year is down. Or we're projected to be,
Our total revenue,
we'll still be up, it's just that we have less, this is like the fun government accounting. We made more money, but have a shortfall.
we were, the condo units were paying at the tier 4 level, which is the highest rate, and we increased tier 2 condos. So they were being adversely affected, as they have no choice, they have a master meter, they have high usage. The board made the decision to address that, inequity by limiting tier 4 to them. So they're no longer at that highest rate. That difference between them capping out at tier 3 is that we're gonna, it's $116,000 less next year than this year, based on the same usage.
Based on the projections, yes.
We're gonna have a tier 3, they're still 2% higher. Okay. And that would just keep us level until we get more information. I mean, you and Jen are gonna kill me when I say this, but I thought we just found 263,000 truck that we didn't use.
But that's general fund money.
Right.
For the water treatment plant, which isn't part of this. The water treatment plant's not a raise.
I understand that, but so there's no legal way at town meeting for us to allocate money to put money into that.
You can, it's called subsidy, you absolutely can.
So we did subsidize, fine. We may not want to, but we also might end up like the MBTA. And chasing, no, so this is what's gonna happen, we're gonna price ourselves out. And then no one uses it anymore, because we keep raising the rates. And then at some point, you have to subsidize it. And this, we also haven't capped what our debt is gonna be. I'm just gonna tell you, like, writ large, I'm getting more and more fearful of these enterprise funds. Because we're gonna run into this problem.
It's a long term, up to the end.
Yeah. Well,
Well, it's a bad thing, you know.
we're here.
Do we have a team doing anything with water and price fund?
Currently, no, because nothing's gonna be certified. They will not be as robust as they've been in the year past.
And if we had an emergency sometime, not even gonna give an example because it'll happen, right? But if something came up, something terrible, and we had to fund something, can we as the water commissioners do an emergency one-time rate increase to deal
Yeah,
with?
you could always do that if you wanted to.
So we have flexibility as the water commissioners. And we don't have to do this ourselves, not get another board.
Very soon. They're asking.
I just asking.
I think the notion of subsidizing the money that we just saved on a free truck or whatever it was, that should be for another issue, for another time. I think at this point, being a 1.5 and a 1.5 or a 3% on usage, I think that's where you want to be for today. Just to take care of paying for the decision we made at the last meeting. And then let them get some more information to us about what the next up is gonna look like. You know, we have been very aggressive in the last 3 years, 10%. I thought it was 16, 10%. So, yeah, in order to, with the climate that's there, let's just take care of the decision, pay for the decision we made already. Live for another day. Save the subsidy concept for another time.
We're people that. We want to go.
I agree. I agree that we need to address the immediate, it will help people if we spread it over 4 months, 4 quarters over as opposed to three quarters.
Right.
The sticker shock, it's not a huge sticker shock. I would argue for usage because, to your point, it would help those that are very susceptible. I can't even talk. And I really feel like, you know, I know you guys do a great job with the capital plan and all of that you hear almost that. And so I think having a little chance for you guys to sort of chew that up a little bit and bring that back to us and then have that conversation. Say, okay, we can't go off the water, we can't do this.
We'll push it into the end of the next 5-year plan, and push it out.
But some of those things can't. So.
Maybe we could qualify a little better on our capital plan where we look and we say, okay, you know, we have this 2 years out. Well, we're not gonna have the permit problem. It's the best case scenario, but it might be 3 or 4 years, and that might make it work well.
Right, and then we look at that bar and we
We're
say
looking
we're
at our
gonna
best case
retire.
scenario, because if we ever get the permits in a year, we wanna at least be ready to come back and try to build what we promised.
So you're advocating for option one.
I want option one.
I do too.
Yeah, 4 for 1. All right. I'm fine, we're gonna get more info, I like that.
Hopefully though, for your average, it would be $3.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more info.
And I think the other point that Andrew made is talking about some of these projects, it's got whacked in the head.
Yeah.
The payoff of our water main. Like 9 zeros, it just doesn't. Right. We can't afford to do them all, so someone's gonna have to just whack in the head, it's not to do. And that'll be the first one on the chopping block. It's not to do it, they'll pay back.
We just can't afford to build more water.
Even with their water rates, I did the math, it's probably wrong, but I did the math, I think.
Right.
Forever for them to pay back, so.
We're gonna find a great grant for that.
Yeah.
And federal, thanks, ARPA. All right,
Mr. Chair, can I
Yes.
just ask when you make your motion, that the motions that are on your suggested motions, we're assuming we get. So you're going to have to make up your motion,
I'll
that
make
you
it
only
up.
wanted usage, you only wanted 3%, and just get rid of everything about the rate sheet that you got in the line.
Move the select board vote to increase the water usage rate by 3% for fiscal year 2025 as indicated on the proposed rate sheet.
You were good at 2025.
All right.
Rate sheets, give it now.
Move.
Wait a minute.
Second. Okay, hold on, we have a question now.
Further discussion, I do have a question. I would like to, in the motion, say that we're not raising the base rate. Can we say that?
You certainly can add that, the base rate increases by 0%.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the motion. You know what I'm saying? I think if we're not raising it, yeah, we should say so.
Keep the base rate as a 24 rate.
Move that the select board vote to increase the water usage rate by 3% and keep the base rate, do not increase the base rate for fiscal year 2025.
Moved by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Gilmore, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. All right.
Now let's go to the grade screen.
Sewer.
Needs to be earlier.
I completely agree with you. We're gonna have to do the fractions later.
Thank you.
So sewer rates, this does not have any hard questions in it. This is just a fiscal 25 budget review, you already know that, all you hear about is the bottom bullet, which is that when the budget was approved, there was a deficit that would even have to be addressed for rate increase. Sludge tank disposal has been the bane of Will's existence. To give you just a feel for how bad it is, this month's sludge tank disposal is $31,000. And our contract expires at the end of December. In the last 3 or 4 contracts, there's been a sole bidder.
Yeah.
So it's not getting any better. We don't expect anything great to happen with that. Sewer connection fees, you already heard me get on my soapbox about those. We finished the year, we did not make projection. So we had $140,000 shortfall in that particular revenue line. It was made out of other revenue lines, so it wasn't a revenue deficit. But the reliance on those one-time revenues without a policy to make sure we check them is problematic. Unknowing we have a project that's going to generate them. There was some, we headway on that 2025, we're only projecting 320,000, which is less, but if the same thing happens next year, we still have a deficit. So on, so lots. But the rate increase for the base charge at 1% generates almost $13,000. The usage generates almost $19,000, so you get approximately $42,000 increase for the base interest rate by 1%. So the question is, what do you want to fund? If you only want to fund the $86,931, that's going to be, sorry, I can't see my side of the screen on the script.
2.9.
Yeah, 2.09, thank you. And then if you wanted to restore the emergency reserve line, you do not have to. We didn't use this last year, so we don't have to increase the rate to do that. That's 0.6. If you wanted to reduce the reliance going forward on the connection fees by 48,000, that's 1.15. So you have a range of what your options are based on what you want to do. So the very minimum we need is basically a 2.1% increase. Over the last few years, those are what the increases have been. Spoiler alert that Jamie already gave to us. Now I can see why you think it's great green. We looked at the same thing we did with the water, based on those concerns about the base rate. So you have base rate at 2% or just a 3% on the usage, get you to about the same place. And then if you wanted to put back the emergency reserve line, if you wanted to take away some of that reliance on sewer connection fees. Knowing how concerned the board is in what was happening with the water treatment plant, I think option 1 and option 2 might be very important ones to make.
Option 2, estimated bill is lower, but you get lower.
Yeah, because the usage is a bigger component of the rating loads.
This is the sewer treatment, this is not water treatment.
Yes,
Sewer.
yeah.
Right.
I like the idea of restoring the $25,000 fee, emergency fee. You should have that. And then, although you didn't use it, okay, you were lucked out that year. I'm an Irishman, and I maybe shouldn't say that, but the day you don't have it, is the day you're gonna need it. I'm telling you.
And if you wanna lean in that direction, that's your option 5 and option 6.
What are you doing over here? Where are we?
I like usage.
No, I just didn't, have any questions.
Sorry, I tried to go fast.
Yeah, maybe I could just ask this question. There are a lot of seasonal people on sewer because of the location. So does the sewer usage go down during the winter?
Yes,
Oh,
everyone
yeah,
is.
that's just kind of phase, yeah.
So
The weather hiding affects us also.
Yeah.
If we get flooding, you know, the only way we use the bottom of some of the areas is through sources.
So to our concern, and Jamie's point, the 25,000 emergency reserve line is a nice to have. Would I like to have it? Yes. If I don't have it, in sewer, if I have an emergency, $25,000 probably isn't gonna, it's gonna be a bigger emergency than that.
We just
So-
got quotes for some of the influent pumps we were looking at replacing as part of our capital plan in the prior year. Single pump was over $70,000 for that area.
Just knew it's gonna bring
Get a
more
quarter
confidence
pump.
presentation, didn't you? Of course, yeah.
It's just, I was looking at annual estimated, and if you go from option 2, fiscal 24 was 910. Option 2 would be 926. Option 6 is 934. So you're going 910 to 934. It's not a huge jump for an answer. And you would restore that nominal fund that you can buy a quarter of the pump.
Yeah, and we could always just reduce, 5 and 6 gives you a little bit more, you can reduce some of the fee lines. But we do want to show you where we are, 3 to 5, 3.5, 4.5% increase would make us anywhere from 934 to 941, so those 5 and 6. You would still remain number 4, but that's still more money out of those pockets. Marshfield has surpassed us, so that's nice.
Right.
And sorry, I thought we had the rate increases, but I guess I'm gonna pop those out, like I went by, yeah, earlier.
So I'm seeing some 3.5, 3.5.
If that's what you want to do.
0, 3.0.
I'm thinking option 6. Three.
We can definitely put the $25,000 reserve back and then reduce less connection fees. So each connection fee is 16,000, so.
So the lowest you've got is 926,
Yes,
and the highest you've got is 941.
yes.
And
926.
And
Annual,
I'm sorry, you're talking. Not much here,
No,
on a household
when you look at,
basis.
that's my point, and this is sewer.
You tell me. What people want to do.
You're our bus base chair.
What I like to take input. My gut is telling me that we're split on this.
Split between 2 and 6,
So it's
okay, well, everybody agrees on a 0 base,
Correct, I would agree.
right?
It's not touched.
so it's 50, so it's a $46,000.
Yeah, but that's us, that's us. Estimated bill is our citizens, and when I look at the
You're talking
difference.
926 versus 934. And you
Yeah.
restored the
A
emergency.
year,
I don't.
a year, a year.
You restored the emergency fund.
I'm seem like you're for option 6.
I am, based on, when I look at those numbers, I'm like, we take in a lot more, but it doesn't cost the individual household significantly more.
That's what
I'm just, unless there's someone out there. I think we should, turn on here, that you're saying that 4% is the 4%. Your recommendation in some place was 4% total, right? So where was that?
I think it was on the motion.
Yeah, oh, that's what I was, yeah, I read it down. So I would say that, 4% on usage. I would be comfortable.
What would that total be then?
It's not on the side sheet.
So it would be about 120.
Would that restore both?
Yes,
Tighter?
it would, yeah, you just do less of the connection fees. That would give you enough to do
I
the,
would agree with you that if that's what you wanna do.
Alright, so option 6 is 0, 0, and instead of 4.5, 4.0. 4.0. So we like that, we like that.
Make the motion and do it like there.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
We have to do the motion.
How many people out?
We have a written.
Can they hear me now?
Move that the select board increase the base rate for sewer usage by
Use it.
base rate by 0%, and the usage rate increase by 0%.
Moved by Ms. Conley, well done.
Second.
Second by Ms. Harrison, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Okay.
okay, the gentlemen are off book, but you still have me because we have, income borrowing.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'll say thank you very much, and please.
Thank you.
Well, what's the rate, where are we at capacity right now?
You're at 97% of your permitting capacity.
97.
We had some.
Rain.
And what's the status of the Oceanside replacement? What's the schedule for that?
Of the existing phase of construction or?
Yeah, the new line.
So one of the things that we could do in the future is we could bring in the I&I contract, the I&I engineer, he's put together a proposal to show everything we've done and what we've completed over the past year, if that's more than like.
We need that in a projection, the anticipated projects.
Anticipated projects, but that's something he could come in and bring in, he's already, that, what, you know, everything's been so busy, I haven't tried to slide it in. But if you guys would like to see that, we'll gladly bring them in.
If we could do that and at the same time have an update on, society starting for Scituate, so. Those are parallel conversations. Okay, with you, Mr. Chair?
Yes, we will find the proper time for that, yes.
I will defer to the
Jacob Fund borrowing.
All right, fine.
Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
Stick to the agenda.
Thank you for your.
Thank you, everyone. So on behalf of Pam, we have a request to interfund borrow, so we don't have to start interest costs in the marketplace. There are 5 projects for which we want to interfund borrow to reduce the liquidity of our remaining stabilization fund balance for this. The request is for $6,767,000, just for those at home. Have this information, it would be $1,050,000 for the locker room phase 3, the $840,000 for the fire pumper truck. So we have leverage to award the contract, but we're not going to incur any costs for now. And for the new Cushing Hathaway School, which is $119 million, just $4 million, so they can continue with that project. By doing it this way, there's no impact on the tax bill to people for short-term interest. Giant Engineering for Northwich Expansion, $800,000 for that unawarded contract. And that comes forward, and then the design engineering for the first part of the conversation. Half of that was from other funds and sewer enterprise, which is the other half so they can move forward with that project. So we have until June 30th, 2025 to replace the funds if we spend any of what's been approved.
I think we had funds to borrow after, we looked at all the math.
And that would be one of the reasons why we would want you to spend, another reason why we would want you to spend, recommend spending all of the stabilization fund.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good move. Yeah.
All right, motion.
Thanks.
Move that the select board approve the interfund borrowing prepared by the treasurer collector in the amount of $6,767,000 for purpose of the approved as shown above.
Second.
Mr. Gilmore, seconded by Ms. Canfield. All those in favor? Aye. Next is, this will be quick. Maybe,
I don't think we've got the names easily accessible for anything but the ones that are using any.
this is the affordability.
Yeah.
So this is real quick. We don't even,
I was.
maybe we won't even vote on this. Did everybody get?
I read what you sent us, yes.
I'll just tell you quickly, and if there's, we're gonna find, if there's not, we can push it to another meeting. The whole point of the affordability committee is to issue the report. One report. They get done before next town meeting, that's the goal. If not, I'm assuming we can tell them, fine, you've got time until the next fall town meeting. The goal is to be a one-stop shop, have all the different programs that we care about, affordability, and also what other communities are doing. So this committee, I didn't put any, how many individuals. We can tighten this up and vote on it next time, but I just wanted to officially get it on. Yes,
Your concept is quite noble,
yeah,
but I think you need to tighten up
yes,
what it is that this committee should focus on. Because right now, affordability is everything here. Well, where do you focus?
so I guess my question then for tonight is to continue to tighten this up and go forward, we're okay with the concept, or?
Well, I think it's a good idea.
I agree.
Yeah, I
Think
agree.
about it.
We need to pick it up.
All right, now.
But
we can
I'm
go.
all set for this.
Perfect.
Perfect. I figured it out. Are we ready?
Did we do them all at once?
Okay, move to appoint Dan Ramsey to the Public Building Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named. Move to appoint William Ridley to Water Resources Commission. That will be decided for 3 years. Move to appoint Dina Drake, a Sister City Cape Verde Committee for a term of 2 years or until a successor is named. Move to appoint Shelley Swanson to Economic Development Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named. And then we're reappointing people to a bunch of things. So I can read all the reappointments too. Move to reappoint the following to Affordable Housing Trust for a term of 2 years or until a successor is named: Stephen Irish, Elizabeth Howie Moore Curran, Jamie Gilmore, select board voting member. Move to reappoint the following to the Commission on Disabilities for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named: Jeffrey Duggan, Eric Donovan, and Josh Scituate. Move to reappoint the following to Community Preservation Committee for a term of 3 years until a successor is named: Dan Fennelly and Skylar Chick. Move to reappoint Joe Ennis to the Public Building Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named. Move to reappoint David Mary to the Recreation Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named. Move to reappoint the following to the Zoning Board of Appealers for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named: Chris Prussia and Justin Marks. Move to reappoint the following to the Master Plan Implementation Team for a term of 1 year. Ooh, Jim Boudreau, congratulations. Nancy Holt, congratulations. Kevin Cafferty, congratulations. Andrew Goodrich, Aaron Joseph, and Patty Lambert. Move to reappoint the following to the Sister City Cape Verde Committee for a term of 2 years until a successor is named: Maria Lobo Andre, Angela Gray, John Montanero, Hope Fernandez, and Kelly Bauer. Move to reappoint the following Sister City Susie Embry Committee for a term of 3 years until a successor is named: Anne Marie Green, Emil Green, Susan Morgan, Kate Logar, Patricia Jarbart, and Peter Lincoln, Anita Ahern and Suzanne Lingham. We're done.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Gilmore, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Yeah.
All right, I don't think we have
And
any.
then the two where I guess they're getting rescheduled.
Nice. All right, let's move on to approval of meeting minutes, public liaison correspondence. Okay. Approval of meeting minutes.
We have, we
Yes.
have one.
It's June 18th and June 24th.
Motion to approve the both sets of minutes as written.
Moved by Mr. Gilmore, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Canfield, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Before we go into executive session, is everyone gonna be, is there anything? Liaison?
Wait,
I-
what's
I
their
have
correspondence? There was
Jamie's
correspondence.
so excited.
Okay, Jamie, go, and then.
Very briefly, but I attended my first meeting with the Scituate Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Convention Committee.
Excellent.
Very interesting group of people, very dedicated people. Spent a lot of time on, creating, apparently there's at least 27 households in this town that English is not the first language. So when we send notices out, like the emergency notices, there's gotta be some way that those people can be accommodated in translation. So they've worked that out, and I think they're working with Michelle and the town people to get some notice. You know, if you go to our website, you can Google Translate.
Right.
But the actual notice itself,
PDF.
I think they decided on 3 additional languages, 1 sentence that says go to the website for translation for this. Then that would be French, Portuguese, and Spanish. Pretty sure that's what they settled on, and they're creating that wording. The other thing that was talked about was the reinvigoration, or maybe not reinvigoration, but reemphasis on the METCO program. Incidentally, you know what METCO stands for? I had to put this in here. Here we go.
It's for a wonderful program.
It's a great program, but the actual wording is very interesting. Oh, God, now I'm gonna embarrass myself with the hold on, stop, that I can send the earlier tape.
Won't be the only one.
Thank you.
And Zenna's.
It means, movement everyone takes care of. Isn't that, movement everyone takes care
Never
of.
did that.
Yeah. And there's,
I think I believe it.
they're actually looking for more, like sponsor homes, student resource homes, friends of that code. Apparently there's 97 anchor support homes. There's 97 homes now signed up for anchor support. They're trying to add more to that. So that was pretty interesting. And I was just very impressed with what they're working on.
I love
Look forward to attending the next meeting.
So do you have, correspond,
Well, I don't have committee, my committee was here. Yeah.
I still have one more liaison. Just that the Navy paddle was dedicated at the library.
Right.
That was very exciting.
Waterways is their meeting this month. And there is a public hearing notice in the correspondence that we should probably mention. On the Marshfield, harbor method, they're removing and replacing floats and construction of new dock decks at David Point. There is a public hearing scheduled for Wednesday, July 17th at 6:30. If anyone's interested, in Virginia Marshfield Town Hall.
Wednesday, July 17th.
Yes. All right.
So, I have a motion to move into executive session.
So,
Read the,
Yeah.
you do actually have to read it. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's all.
you can't just say I'm looking. This,
I have to read.
No, no, no. Move that the select board go into executive session pursuant to purpose 3 of the open meeting law to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, and I declare that an open meeting may have detrimental effect negotiated position of the select board in connection with this matter. The board will not reconvene in open session. Shellfish. Roll call votes.
Mr. Goodrich,
Yes.
Saracen,
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore,
Aye.
Ms. Campbell,
Yes.
Ms. Conlon.
Yes.
Thank you, now, all in favor.